The globe is absolute bollocks. And you're just a stupid fucking bunch of knobs. The globe is absolute bollocks. And you're just a stupid fucking bunch of knobs. The globe is absolute bollocks. And you're just a stupid fucking bunch of knobs. The globe is absolute bollocks. And you're just a stupid fucking bunch of knobs. The globe is absolute bollocks. And you're just a stupid fucking bunch of knobs. The globe is absolute bollocks. And you're just a stupid fucking bunch of knobs. The globe is absolute bollocks. And you're just a stupid fucking bunch of knobs. The globe is absolute bollocks. And you're just a stupid fucking bunch of knobs.
Keep up the good work, man, and stay flat, okay?
Okay, I'm a flat earther.
Hey, Steve, you fucking noob.
I'm the fucking noob. I thought we were both fucking noobs. So it was just
He
me.
was actually, oddly enough, he was
He's talking to me,
referring to
wasn't he?
you. Yes, he was
Oh, I
referring to
thought.
you in that.
Yeah, okay.
That is
You
pulled
could be a
from
fucking noob too, though.
that was pulled from the show that we held when they were on, and he was in fact talking to Steve. That is, I've put together a few tracks starring some of the most notorious people within the flat Earth community and our own, and you'll be hearing those in the coming weeks of Saturday night. Next week we're going to do a song. I've just teased you by saying this. It's very interesting. Next week's will be, and then Reds. He's coming to join us soon for a debate, and his will be up as well. So here in probably the next 3 weeks, there will be an entire Saturday night soundtrack that you can get. This single, actually, that you just heard at the beginning is on iTunes, Spotify, and all of your music platforms. Just search for Non-Sec Show, and you can listen to it there. Tonight, we're doing a sort of an impromptu. I guess it could still be Flatter Day, right? Any day can be Flatter Day.
It's Flatter Day.
We have quite a marathon this week. Last week, G and I thought we were pretty much done with Flat Earth because it's so hard to get people that can come on with a new idea or something that you haven't heard before, and so we were very just sort of down about it. But like the phoenix rising from the ashes, the Flat Earth community has risen up again, and I have been inundated with emails, and so there'll be 2 tomorrow, and next I believe Sunday right now, as it's looking, Sunday Reds will be back, and we'll have one on Sunday as well. So it'll be a whole weekend of it. Steve, anything that you'd like to say or do or put out there?
Yeah, I wanted to do a quick shout out to, as people may know, I have a real life friend, Brittany Simon. She's a YouTuber. She's a bondage dominatrix, S&M advocate, instructor, friend, but she's a female feminist, and I just adore her channel so much. Well, I actually had the pleasure of actually going and visiting with her several days ago. We had about 3 hours of footage that we recorded. She made majority of it into a video. It is on her channel. If you guys want to go check it out, please watch it. It is very good. Her and I sit and we talk about life, religion, politics. If you haven't subscribed to her, she's been on the show before. She's been on this show as somebody who actually had a discussion with Carl Benjamin, aka Sargon of Akkad, and that went really well. So you guys may know who she is, but if you don't, go check her out. Just put her video in the live chat and tell her hi from NonSequitur, because she's a big fan of the show and we're a big fan of hers. So
yes, it is on Deezer to Arc Atheist. For whoever said that the non-bot points were messed up, that's probably going to happen because what I've been, like I said, this is going to be a learning process as I've been going along and updating the scripts and getting like people's records of when they redeem points. I am noticing that it's not keeping up with like offline hours like it should, and other things. I mean, everybody's points may be completely screwed up. I have no idea. I'm learning this as I go, so you'll have to like be patient and bear with me on that. Hopefully, soon we'll be able to get it where it's under control. I'm slowly but surely getting to that point. It's just a learning process and a little bit of a curve. So I'm going to turn, by the way, I've turned Nubot off. If you're just joining us, I turn them off after the start of the show, and I will turn her back on when we start to do super chats. That way the chat doesn't get clogged up with people who are just doing the points thing and pissing people off. Okay, we are joined tonight by Jared. Jared's been here several times. Hello, Jared.
Good evening, everyone.
And then we have joining us for the first time, WYAAI. I'm just kidding. Why you are an idiot. Why am I an idiot? W?
Oh, well, I don't even want to go into that right now. I'd rather go straight into the
Me
debate
either.
and topic.
Me either.
You know, I don't want to go calling people idiots
Just
right now.
bypass all the
Me
reasons why Kyle's an idiot.
Yeah, let's bypass that right
don't
now.
know. We only have 2 hours for this.
When I
so
hear
at the
something
most.
stupid, when I hear something stupid, that's when I'll call anyone an idiot.
Wait,
you know. But for now,
just preliminary. I just want to be sure. Did you say that you don't want to be calling anybody an idiot? That is what you said, right?
yeah, I don't want to be calling anybody an idiot right now.
But that's what your channel name is. It literally does that. It
Yeah, I
literally.
know.
I'm just.
Yeah, I
kidding
know.
about that.
And
Okay.
you should see my comment section. I call them idiots all the time.
Listen, I'm with you there. We have for Faithless Forum. Shannon sent out the. I'm a speaker at Faithless Forum, and she sent out a message saying I need 5 hate comments from your comment section, and I was like, only 5? I get like 5 hate comments every 2 minutes. So there's a never-ending supply of that. Jared, do you want to kind of take a second and introduce who you are and tell us about your channel, and then we'll let W do the same.
Yeah, so for those who are unaware, I am Jared. I run the channel AT2 Productions, where the primary content we do there is actually a weekly veterans talk panel where we cover all sorts of topics, everything from current events to flat earth to random bullshit that we've come across away from the computer. Think of it as an online version to give you a look into what happens when a bunch of ex-military get together just to shoot the shit and drink. I also run a second channel called AT2 Moto, where I ride around, talk about, again, random thoughts and everything that come to mind, and also just enjoy the experience of having the motorcycle and all the wonderful headaches that come with it. Speaking of which, for those of the channel, the chain came in today, but I'm still waiting on the new electronics. Gotta love deliveries sometimes.
It won't be a headache if you wear a helmet, Jared. Just saying.
Oh, I always wear a helmet when I'm on that thing. My face may be fucked up, not as bad as Red's, but I like my brain where it is. Let's keep it
rainbow colored?
the skull.
Is it rainbow colored and have a propeller on top?
No, but it is red, white, and blue.
I hear you. Patriot. America. Okay, W, tell us a little bit about you and what your channel is about and that sort of thing.
Okay, well, I'm just a regular guy. And what happened was I was going through Reddit one day, and I saw the atheist Reddit page, and I saw a bunch of people. And they were talking about the Bible and religion, just in general. And they had no idea what the hell they were talking about. They would get a verse, take it out of context, and it would annoy the hell out of me. Like, you guys are reading the Bible completely wrong. Not just the Bible, the Quran and many other books. So I decided to make a page because unfortunately these guys read it wrong. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to make a YouTube channel and I'm going to start talking about this. And I literally dive myself into the atheist forums and bombard them with like what the Bible and what, religion is actually saying rather than what they think. Because what they think doesn't matter. I don't care what they think. take it for what it says. Okay, so that's what happened to me, and that's how I created my channel, and then it turned into a religious flat earth truth channel. Basically, I look for truth, which is why I have several MGTOW videos. I have several religious topics that I talk about. Of course, flat earth, and I still want to do a video on Muslims, but I'm holding off on that for a little bit, and I will eventually get to that, but soon enough.
Okay. Let's see. I guess should we start with why you are an idiot, so that you can sort of tell us why the globe. I don't. Where would you guys like to start with, religion or the flat Earth?
Well,
They're
let's
both
start
connected,
with
so yes, go
see, I
start.
would love to hear how they are connected. Let's start with the actual physical shape of where we live and how that is connected to a metaphysical mental crutch.
Oh no, it's a lot of people take the spiritual, like when you hear spiritual, as like invisible. From what I know, there's only one invisible thing in the Bible, but everything else is visible. Meaning, if an angel comes before you, you're going to see it. If a Nephilim comes before you, you're going to see it, and it might actually attack you. Like, a lot of people like to take this interpretation of spiritual meaning invisible. No, spiritual does not mean invisible. It just doesn't. So I'm just going to give you a description of how I see the flat Earth. Okay, one, there is no universe. So let's take that out. Let's remove that. It is set on pillars. Now, how many? I don't know, but 4 minimum. Okay. Now, there is 4 corners to this place. 4 corners. Okay. Now, inscribed in the center, inscribed, meaning if you take a piece of wood and you inscribe it, it's going to create an upturned edge. And God created a circle. Okay. He filled the land with it. Okay. Now, in that center, you put glass above it. Okay. Now, after you put glass above it, you set the sun, moon, and stars inside of it, etc. Land, fruits, animals, us, and other entities that I can speak of. And then he put water above it, and then he encased it one more time. So basically, we live in, like, how do I say this?
We're in a thermos.
Anyone who's ever had an animal, huh?
We're in a thermos.
Basically,
Double
no.
insulated.
We're in like a little pet cage, just a bigger version. That's it. We are literally in like a pet cage, which is weird to understand. But if you ever have any like lizards or you've been to like the pet store, they're in like a glass case. Yeah, that's us. That's how small we are compared to God. And God can stand up, walk around, do his thing, la la la. And he watches what's going on. And he tells people, okay, this is what I want you to do. This is what I don't want you to do. But that's basically my description of the flat Earth. Now, how many miles is the dome? I don't know. I don't go with the whole 3,000 mile crap. I don't believe it. I think it's more 150 to 250 miles high. That's my estimate. But, I could be wrong because it's kind of hard to get, every little detail right about this place. I don't have the money to get a plane and drive everywhere, Okay, your turn, Jared. Describe.
Regardless of that, well, no, I'm really curious about the description you gave, because you have put quite the details for it and do cite the biblical source for it. My first question with that is, which version of the Bible?
You mean which? You mean King James, NIV, stuff like that? I normally use the King James. That doesn't mean I don't go to others, but I normally use the King James. Okay. I don't know why it just seems to have gotten it right compared to the rest of them, and I'm not sure why. Like it seems like the rest of them are good, but like the details are kind of sometimes in certain parts.
So you do know the history of the origin of that version, that translation of the Bible?
If I'm correct, it's from Nicaea. It's from the Council of Nicaea. If I'm correct, where they were setting it up.
Think
Please
think
tell
of
me
the
that.
name. Think of the name of the
Yeah, I know.
version. It is the
King
King
James, yeah.
James version. Which King James?
Oh, that I don't know. That I don't.
The gay one.
The monarch of England.
Okay.
The gay one.
Yeah,
Yes.
he
And what
was
about
the
it?
founder of the Church of England. You are using one of the more politicized versions and bastardizations of the text as your go-to.
Okay. I have no issue with that.
Well, you see no issue with that.
No, why? Because if I can prove its words, then guess what? It's true. Even if you say, "Oh, King James was a terrible person. He was a horrible human being."
Oh no,
It doesn't matter
no!
if they.
This is nothing.
It doesn't matter if they
This is
wrote it
nothing.
correctly. It's still going to be true.
But why would it take well over 1,000 years to get the right version after the death of Christ versus the handful of versions that were before it? And also, why would scholars feel the need to actually go back and correct the translations after this one if it was the correct translation?
Well, there's many things we can go into. We can go into the bar of indoctrination. That could be one thing. Because there's a Bible out there that's very ball centric, meaning they change everything from flat Earth to like a ball Earth, and it's very, very weird and strange, and I don't trust it. Okay, now how do I describe this? How can I prove the Bible is telling the truth? Not just the Bible, but other religions also. How can I prove it? Now, anyone who's ever been on my channel knows me. I'm very simple. I can start off from Genesis 1 all the way to Genesis 6. It's not hard. Now, we can start off with the details for the evidence of the flat Earth dome, or we can start off with the version of the giants. Which one would you like to
Oh,
go
please,
to?
please, the Giants.
Oh, please,
Please, the Giants.
you want to see the giants?
Yes, please.
Okay. Well,
Go for it.
anyone who, no, please, anyone who's on my page right now, please. You can see for yourself. I just put Noah's Titans before the flood. Or you can go to my page, Why You Are an Idiot. And you'll see the bodies right there. They died. You can see their
You
penises,
mean
vaginas, butts,
Oh
like
no.
wait, are
literal
you
bodies,
talking
yeah.
about are you talking about the skeletons that were unearthed that were actually admitted
No, I'm
Photoshop
talking.
alterations?
You did not look, did you? I left it. I left it on.
No.
I left it on Plan Walker's page on his Discord.
Yeah,
I left it on
see
there for
here,
everyone to see because I
yeah,
didn't want any
leaving it there
excuse.
leaving it there for everyone to see, but here's the thing. I'm not the only one listening to this, and not everyone in the audience has even been aware of your existence. So you have a chance to actually go through and walk us through this and explain it, but I'm still wondering, just starting with Genesis and the creation account,
Yes.
how do you
Jared,
get past the...
Jared, let
Yes,
me break
Kyle?
in for just a second before we
Go
get too
for it.
far away from it. Did you
Yes.
say something about you can see their? I just want to make sure that we're clear that you said we can see their penis and vaginas. Is that what you said?
Yeah, we can see their penis, vaginas, butts, bodies, eyes, nose,
Okay.
mouth.
Could you elaborate on that, please? Because I'm not really sure what you
Would you
mean by
like for me? Would you like for me to show you guys?
we can't show that. I'm
I
pretty
don't
sure we can't
think.
show
Yeah,
penis.
that might be a
Okay,
good
no, it's
idea.
fine. It's fine. I want to know because I want to know if I can show it, or is it better that I just tell the people to go to my channel to look at it? Well,
Just tell
let
the
me
people to go to
elaborate.
the channel.
Okay, to anyone who wants to look, go to my channel. Why You Are an Idiot. It's going to be called Noah's Titans Before the Flood. I made 3 videos so far on it. Okay,
Okay.
their bodies are scattered all over the earth.
Wait,
Now I'm
I
going to
think
go.
W. Are you? I want to make sure. Are you talking about like mountains? Those are fossilized penises and vaginas that have been immortalized in like the geological features. Is that what you're referring to?
Oh, okay. Okay.
Well, some of them, yes, and then some of them, I
Okay.
think some of them are just,
Okay.
yeah. I think you
That's
understand what
fine.
I'm saying.
That's where my disconnect was, because I was like, okay, if these are 1,000-year-old giants, right? Let's say I grant you that there were giants. How are we still able to see their penis? And how can I do this? Like, how can I make sure that my penis is around for thousands of years? That was my concern.
Oh,
Now that I get it, that it's a more okay, I got it. All right, Jared, you can go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead and address that, because that is just fascinating how soft tissue can become petrified in such a way that it is indistinguishable from regular stone. How do you explain that one?
It's not really indistinguishable. I mean, it's pretty out there. People notice it. People aren't dumb. It's just people never put it in their head that giants existed, because neither did I. I didn't put it in my head that giants existed. I thought this was just like erosion, formation, or something like that. And then once you read religion, not just the Bible, other religions, Norse, Greek, Sumerian, like Vedic Sanskrit, Bhagavad Gita, like you start reading all these books and you're like, where are these giants coming from? And then you realize, okay, the Bible was telling the truth. He said the angels had sex with the women, they became pregnant, they gave birth to giants, and they died giving birth. And now their bodies are all over the earth.
Do you know who Edgewise is?
I was just about to go. I was just about to go there, because this really does sound like pareidolia.
Okay, I'm done.
I understand what you guys are saying with pareidolia. They've told me that. I don't believe it, because I have evidence of a heart inside one of them. So yeah, and then on top of that, before I found out, this was the story. Okay, now before I found out, one guy, he was walking by like one of those stone snakes that looks really long, and he thought it was a statue, just like we all did. He was walking by, a piece of it broke off. He picked it up. He didn't think anything of it until he turned it around, and he noticed there was red blood. And then he looked inside, and he realized, okay, this creature was alive. Now, it may not seem like much, really big anaconda, like bigger than usual anaconda. That doesn't seem like much. But around, like when you look around more, you start to realize, oh, there's more animals around. Are these also fossilized, petrified, all this stuff? So now, here's my view. My view is that some of them are just built. I don't doubt that at all. The human race builds stuff with faces and stuff like that. I do believe that, okay? But there's a portion of them that it's become very obvious that these are the giants. These are the titans of the ancient past.
Like, so, where?
We're only on Genesis. Like, we're only on Genesis 3 and 6.
Where was this petrified to stone with still remnants of blood inside of it found?
Oh God, I can't remember where this one was found.
Could it be because you're making it up?
This was so long ago. This was I think 2 years ago. I think. Am I correct? Yeah. So God, I can't remember where this one was. I can't remember where this one, and this was one of the smaller ones. So I can't remember where that one is. So I can't remember. As for the other one with the heart, if I'm correct, it's an MCU professor who found that one out. He works in geology, and he started looking into it because one of the statues he saw had blood in one of its legs, and I don't mean on top of it, like inside of it. So from there, he went into looking. He just went into searching more and more, and he's discovered more crap than I can only imagine. But then again, that's his job, so it's a totally different thing than me.
And what's this professor's name?
I don't know his name. He makes videos on YouTube. He does make videos on YouTube. I probably have to look it up again. I know it's an MCU professor. Am I correct?
And these are such foundational things that you have found, but you can't remember pertinent details about it.
I'm sorry. I don't have every little detail. I don't go around what's your name? Tell me your address. Tell me where you are. I need to know everything.
When you are citing a work by a professional as someone who has made similar discoveries and is continually continuing to make these similar sort of discoveries, the name would be rather memorable, more so than
Yeah, but I understand
yeah,
that,
but what?
but I don't really know the guy's name. I wasn't looking. I was too busy mesmerized by the situation because when I found out about this, I started looking in other religions, and I'm all like, wait, is this really true? Did this really happen? So I started spending I don't know how much time
I
just
need,
looking through different scriptures.
I need to
So
ask. I need to break
I'm pretty sure I
time.
could find his YouTube page. I
Real,
think I looked at him like 2 days ago or something. I was looking at his page like 3 days ago or something
real
like
quick.
that. Because he,
W,
yes,
just real quick. I need. I have to break in just one more time. Just so that we don't like go too far down the rabbit hole. What you're saying now, you like honestly believe all of this stuff, right? You're not making it up. Like you
oh no, I'm not
genuinely
making
believe
it up
it.
at all. I'm not making it
Okay.
up at all. I literally believe this
Okay.
without
Just making
a
sure.
doubt.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, as an
Yeah, I
aside,
know.
I do have a difficulty with this because pathological liars will say things to the point where they themselves believe it, despite it being patently, blatantly, and demonstrably false.
I'm not saying he's a liar. I'm just saying that
No, I'm not.
like,
I'm not saying that either. However, when asked about pertinent details such as the location of such a mesmerizing find, things like that tend to stick in your head. Things like, especially if it was only 2 years ago, you said?
well, let's
Yeah, there's
see.
millions of people who know about this. There's
Let's
millions
see
of
if
people who know about this.
let's do this.
You are the
Now,
first one you are the first I've heard mention it.
Just so that we make sure that we're not no, because W, the reason that why I asked that is because we have had people that have come on here before, and we find out later that they were just coming on here and just saying shit that they didn't
just
really.
saying bullcrap. No.
Yeah.
I'm being real. I am
Well,
being real.
we will get back to this particular aspect of it. I think that it'll be good to come back to. However, let's start with something so that we can kind of clear the air and make sure that that's not the case this time. And that is, let's start from a factual and evidence based, or what you think is evidence based standpoint. Like, what evidence would you put forth for the Earth being flat? And then once we get past through that, then we can move to the other stuff just to make sure that we're not wasting each other's time and that sort of thing.
All right. Well, my evidence, which I leave on my videos all the time. I left on like my second video that I just made. Yeah, on the second video that I just made. So my evidence would be one, the reflection of the sun and moon off the dome, because the dome is made out of glass, so it has to give off a reflection once something gets close to it, especially the sun. Now you can see this. You can see this all the time, honestly. Like you'll see videos, 2 moons in the sky, 2 suns in the sky, etc. That's not really 2 moons. It's just a reflection. Now, on top of that, from what I can tell, because a lot of people are like,
hang on, are you talking about the videos where they are getting a direct view and you're actually getting a double image due to an issue with the lens of the camera itself?
No, I'm talking about 2 suns in the sky. I've seen it. Like in real life, I've seen 2 suns and 2 moons in the sky. When I was young, I didn't understand what was going on. Neither did anyone in the town where I lived. I was because I used to live close to New York. So remember, I'm pretty sure people have seen it. Oh, 2 suns in New York. Like I remember, I think when it came out, everyone was like surprised, Nibiru and all this crap. And I didn't know what to make of it either because I could see it.
With the exception of 6 years, I have lived in southern New England for the past 31 years.
Mm-hmm.
Not a fucking clue what you're talking about.
Really? You've never seen it? Holy. Well, I have seen it. Basically, the sun and moon are giving reflections off the glass dome. Now, because
I'm sorry to break it again. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So
I have to do this. I have to do this. Are you sure it's not actually 2 suns? Because Antonio Superats has been on here this show before and told us that in the beginning, 3 suns. The Earth had 3 suns, and they merged into one big sun. Are we sure that one of those suns didn't sneak off somewhere and was just like coming
No,
back
no,
there.
that's from another religion, and I don't really blame those religious people. I really don't blame them because it's like when you see 2 to 3 suns in the sky, you wouldn't be surprised. I in my last video, my last debate, I put a video out showing 3 suns. 3 suns, and it's not really 3 suns. It looks like 3 suns, but you can tell there's a
Well,
reflection because it's
yeah,
called it's called a
I'm
sun
looking
dog.
at the video. Yeah, I'm looking at the video
Mhm.
with two suns. That's called glare. Sundogs are actually a form of that as well. They're not actually a sun.
Okay,
It's
go ahead,
clear
Jared.
that that's
But
a form of glare. Just
the
FYI.
whole point is it gives the effect of 2 moons, 2 suns, etc. But
Mm.
basically, that's what would happen. Now, let me go to my next thing. There's water on top of the dome. Like I've said, there's water on top of the dome. Now, people come up to me all the time. Water's clear. Yes, I know water's clear. But for some reason, when you add light, glass, and you put it in there, you could do this in an aquarium. You can go on Google, put aquarium, or one of those places, little water places that everyone goes to, and you're gonna see for some reason the water turns blue. I think it has something to do with the color spectrums of the rainbow, and it seems to affect blue the most. Now, whether that's 100% true or not, that's up for debate. But that is what happens, whether people want to believe it or not. Physical evidence is right there. You can go to a simple aquarium. You can create the same effect down here. It's not that hard to believe you can create the same effect up there.
Yes, and as someone who lived on the ocean for a number of years, I can tell you the ocean, the natural water, not always blue, not even always a shade of blue.
Oh yeah, I believe you.
And here's the thing. It has nothing to do with what's above it. It
Okay,
actually has to
explain.
do with depth, temperature, salinity, and also organic material density of that area. So there were one time in particular it really stood out to me, both when the ship I was on pulled into Singapore and then again in Thailand. As we pulled in, the water got noticeably green, an aquamarine green. And the reason for that is because of the amount of natural phytoplankton that was in the water, so actual microscopic plants, and also the increased temperature of the water, as well as a whole bunch of other contaminants were affecting the color. However, when we got out to deep water, where the salinity changes, where the temperature drops off, and where the depth massively increases, the water would go almost black. Especially the more north you go, where the temperature drops even more. Again, has nothing to do with the sky above it. And that was something that you mentioned on Planner Walk's channel, was that the color blue of the water that we see here on Earth is a reflection of the blue of the water that's above the dome.
Mhm. Yes.
Again, we already know the actual mechanics of what results in what we are able to visually observe with the water, especially at depth, where we can measure the temperature, we can measure the salinity, we can know all sorts of minutia and data that can be verified by simply getting off your butt and going out and doing it yourself if that is something that is important to you. And as these minutia changes, you get changes in the actual appearance of the water. Mind you, you still have a same shade of blue sky above your head.
Are you done? I just want to know when you're done. Can you hear
So
me?
I'm just
Yeah,
wondering how you can make
he's
that
done.
correlation while ignoring that quantifiable, verifiable, repeatable process of actually interacting and knowing the material at your feet.
Oh, no. That's what you said is correct. I agree with you. What you said is correct. I 100% agree with you. I've seen it myself. The water changes color several times, okay, for a variety of reasons and a variety of things. I agree with you. Now, here's where I differ. That's down here. Down here, there's so many things going on. We can affect the water. We alone can change the color of the water ourselves. So there's tons of variables coming in here. Up there, there's nothing messing with it. Nothing at all. Nothing. That water, and when I mean it's pure, I mean that water is pure.
And yet,
Like it's
and
right next to
yet,
God.
and yet you said that the color blue we see of the water here on Earth is a reflection of the blue water above.
Yes. And
But now
most
you're
and guess
changing
what?
your
When you
story.
No, I'm not changing my story. It still changes color. That doesn't mean when I go out into the ocean or fly with a plane, the majority of it isn't blue. There's reasons for why it changes colors in certain areas. There's no reason for it to change up there. No reason. There's no dirt, no germs, no crap. There's nothing like that. The water is pure, God given pure. That's the difference. Down
And yet
here,
the
the water
and
we
yet the
have
higher you
is.
go, the darker the sky gets.
Yes, I know. That's because, oh God, this one is gonna take religion. I mean, yeah, I can show stuff for it, but this one is gonna take religious belief for it because it's as simple as
I'm
this. God said,
I'm not interested
you
in
want me to finish?
belief. I'm interested in demonstrable data and fact.
Yeah, I know. Now I can show you. Well, I probably can't show you now, but it's on my channel. I'd probably have to show you there. Um, because God said, without the sun and moon, without the sun and moon, He said He separated light and darkness. Now, to you guys, that is impossible. Just hands down. I know for a fact to you guys that is impossible.
No,
For me, it's
I
not.
actually I look at all of those texts as a metaphor of people with lacking understanding trying to explain things that they don't have the manner for figuring out at the time.
I say it's impossible.
Yeah, I don't think
Okay,
it's
He says it's
impossible, but I just
impossible. You
no, I
say
don't
they
think
didn't understand. You said
anything that's logically possible is possible. So I don't think it's not logically possible. It's just
Oh,
what
it's
you're
no,
just
it's
impossible.
saying
fine. You,
doesn't
you guys
comport
can tell me what you
to
believe.
the
Yeah, it's
physics. I
impossible.
mean, there's a reason why certain materials absorb certain lights, and the reason why something like this, the ocean would be blue is because it's absorbing the other frequency spectrum, right? It's mostly red is what it actually absorbs, and what's reflected out of that, what's left over that hits our eyes, is blue. It has nothing to do with anything above it. It's an inherent property of the water itself. You can do it in enclosed experimental conditions to get the same result. So it can't be anything overhead reflecting.
Yeah, and I can do the same experiment I was talking about and get the same results I was talking about. So it's just we get different results from different experiments. At the end, they both work. Does that mean they're not true? They're both not true. Yours is true, right?
That's not how that
You've
works.
seen it, right?
I don't. I
Yeah.
don't think that's
No,
how.
no, because no, my experiment is I'm not just talking. My experiment is physical.
Hmm.
And whatever most of what I say is usually physical.
Ooh,
Is a physical representation of something in a smaller form.
me
Okay,
too.
it's like the same thing with gravity. Like no one can prove gravity, but we can sure prove stuff lifts up through magnetics and all this. Okay, but when it comes to gravity, no one can prove it. Everyone can make assumptions, and the reason
Well,
why no one can prove gravity, here's why. And to anyone listening out there, you must prove the core to prove gravity.
No,
Whether you want to believe it, you must prove the core to prove
no,
gravity, or else
no,
it
what does that
becomes a theory.
Jared, what does that
Now
mean? Can you
let me
translate
finish.
that?
no.
Hang on,
So
W. Hang on. I want him to translate this because I don't know what the hell you just said, to be honest with you.
this is something that he brought up on Planner Walk stream last week as well, where
Wait.
he is denying the current explanations of gravity because of the questions that he has about the core of the Earth itself. He's saying you have to know definitively the shape, methodology, and modus of the core of the Earth before you can then use it as an assertion of gravity. But here's the
Yes,
problem with
because
that. Here is the problem with that, and this is what I tried to bring up then too, which I really hope you listen this time. Newtonian basic physics is mass attracts mass. It doesn't give a flying fuck about the internal component of that mass. It's just, is there mass A? Is there mass B? If there is, and there is no other masses creating a significant influence on those two masses, those two will interact with each other. Now, here is the thing where a lot of people tend to go off the rails. They tend to assume that Einstein completely destroyed Newtonian physics. No, 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 no. Newtonian physics is the what. Einstein went to the how.
Okay. Okay. I'm listening. It's not like I disagree with you. We have magnets, we have several things that attract that are in the earth. I don't doubt that at all. But at the end of the day, that still does not prove a core. We're talking about gravity, okay? That still does not
Yes.
prove a core. And let me explain this. Let me explain this, please. Okay, so if I remove the core, what happens? You lose gravity. If you lose
No.
gravity, then guess what? You mess
No.
up the moon. Because the
No.
moon is supposedly,
No.
and
Hold on. Let him
that's the moon.
finish. Let him.
And then what happens to the tides if the moon and gravity are not, not all connected in some way, which is what they tell us. Remember, this is what they tell us. It's all connected in some way. Guess
Mhm.
what? The water comes here, we all die. So it's an assumption to believe the core exists. I don't believe it exists. I don't. I have no proof of it. I have proof of magnetism. I have proof
So,
that I can get certain parts of the earth to connect with each other. I understand that.
so
But
you're
that does not prove
denying.
a
So I just want to make sure I'm clear. You're denying the results of the work of seismologists dating back into the 1950s as pioneered by Eng Lehman.
probably not all the work, but just that small part. I can't
I
say
think
all
it's
the
most,
work because
not
I
all
don't
the
know
work.
all
I
the
mean,
work that they did. I
well,
don't know all the work they
the
did.
work
I would have to
they
know.
can actually show P and S waves, how it transverses through the Earth, and because the core, the way it is, you can see exactly where these waves are supposed to meet and when they will not meet, and it's only because of the way the core is in the Earth. These patterns would not be the case if the core was not there. It is not that difficult to go say, here's an earthquake. Where am I expected to have a P wave? Where am I expected to have an S wave? Let's go check it out. Oh, they're not there. Why is it not there? Because the model predicts that it won't be there because of the core being there. You have different secondary and primary reflective spots for these waves. The model actually
Okay.
demonstrates this.
Okay. Now, are you done? Just let me know when you're done.
Sure.
You're done? Okay. All right. So there's movement under the earth. I agree with you 100%. I agree with you 100%. The waves you're talking about, I agree with you 100%. That does not mean it's because of a core. What could it be then? I'm not going to lie. I don't know. And I rather say I don't know than believe in an imaginary core I can't prove.
Here's the problem. You're saying I don't know while quite literally verbally shitting on decades of people working in the specific field itself, actually figuring this shit out, that if you wanted, if you actually cared, you could look into the actual papers and data that they've recorded and verify it and get hands-on with it yourself.
Uh, now let me explain this. What I would do, what I would want to do, and I'm not joking about this, I would literally want to dig into the ground miles and miles, as far as I could, and then try and see if I can get a glimpse of the thing.
Well,
And then I will believe it. I
People way
would
ahead of
love
you.
to do that. It's the same way,
wow.
like, how like some flat earthers want to go to Antarctica? Same thing. I would love to go out to Antarctica and
Do you know
freaking
how deep
travel
the
all the way
core
to
is?
the dome.
But they've
See our
tried.
deepest
So
hole?
Way ahead of you.
We can't even get
I
past
know,
the
I know they
crust.
tried. I know they tried to dig as far as they could, but
Yeah.
I
Well,
mean,
Yeah.
4,000 miles compared to what? Some people
eh,
say it's 8, some people
Well,
say it's
here,
10,
About
let me
16.
7.5
ask you
miles
this.
we've dug.
Let
Is
me
the
ask you this.
deepest.
Since you are a religious person, do you think that hell is located in, like, below the earth?
Uh, on a certain part. That doesn't mean the whole thing is hell. It means there is a certain part that there is hell. Okay. Now, I also believe in other things. Trust me. It would get too freaking weird.
Oh,
It
I
would
believe
get too
that.
weird, and I don't really
Yeah,
want to get off topic.
don't doubt
It's gonna
that.
get
Yeah,
weird.
don't doubt that.
Get weird.
Yeah, soccer.
Yeah, it would get
Oh,
weirder. Yeah.
so wait, so if I dug where I'm at, I'm in like the Southern California region. If I dug straight down again, the biggest hole is about 7.5 miles, and that took a quarter of a decade to do. So that wasn't even near where we would even get to give it past the crust, right? Which is hundreds and hundreds of miles thick.
Yeah.
So you're saying that if I could go straight down right now, I would actually reach a point where I would literally be in what you would call hell.
If you could break through, if you could
Yeah,
break
yeah.
through.
Yeah.
The most you'd be able, the most from what I know, you'd be able to do, you'd probably be able to hear the screams of the people. That's the most. That is the most you'd be able to do. But actually going down there, I don't think God would allow it. Just like going to see God. Remember how I told you he's only a few miles away. He's not that far. Yeah,
Yep.
they if you read the Bible, they tried to do this. They tried to,
They've
not
already
just that, they wanted to kill him.
they've already got the
They
screams of
wanted,
hell. That party that dug the longest depth into the ground, the Russian group, they recorded
yeah,
the sounds of hell, people screaming. That was big all over the internet. Yeah, that was
yeah,
definitely
I
confirmed.
remember. Hmm.
Hmm. Yep.
Yeah. Now, whether you choose to believe that's fake or real is up to the person.
It's
It's
totally
look,
real.
it is up to the person. I understand that if you don't want to believe it, I don't blame you. I didn't believe it at first either.
Yep.
Once my model changed, once my model changed from ball Earth to flat Earth, my mind started to go with wait, is that really hell? Is that really hell? Because I'm finding giants. I'm uh, I don't even want to get started on this, but I've seen an angel. Um,
Mm.
I'm hearing the screams of hell online that people are talking about, and people are freaking literally scared of it. And I'm seeing all these other things that I didn't see before. So now I'm like, okay, this literally might, everything that religion was talking about might be real.
It
So
may have
like,
something, Steve.
here,
Steve, you see
And
Steve sees
I,
an angel every time he comes on this show. So
I've
Steve,
seen my fair
you
share
have
of
that,
angels. Yeah,
you have that in common.
I've seen a fair share of angels. But you know what we should get on, Kyle? We should have a biblical scholar talk to him, because the way I interpret the Bible, the way people have told me, is that people are not judged yet. Hell, nobody is in hell at the moment. The judgment comes later on. So there's a lot of
Yes,
Christians
they
out
are.
there that would have to say
I'm in
that you're
hell.
fundamentally wrong on that, because
Yes,
they
they
say
are.
that nobody goes to hell until after they're judged. And so
Nope.
right now, you couldn't hear screaming from anybody in hell because they're not there.
I feel you, Kyle.
So what would you
that would
say
be
to
the,
them, W? These are the people that are biblical
oh
scholars. These are Christians, and they're saying you're
yeah,
wrong on that.
I'd say they're wrong, because there's hell and then there's a lake of fire. There's two different ones. Okay, hell is a prison. It's a
I'll
terrible
take the lake
place,
of fire.
and you're gonna go.
Hang on,
Okay,
pause. So
yeah.
the representation of hell you just gave, do you
Yeah.
know where that came from?
Tell me.
No,
No,
I'm
tell me, because
asking what
I
you. I'm
no no
asking what
no tell me.
you know. You just gave a very specific couple of details about what you envision as hell. Where did you get
All
that
right.
mindset
It
from?
wasn't from the Bible, and it wasn't from the
Well,
Bible
I got
scholars.
no
Where
no.
that
I
came
got
from,
it
W.
more. Its location. My version of hell, what I think it is, that's totally different. But the
No, you
location of where it is,
that
No,
wasn't
where
the
the
question.
hell? Yeah, you're not
That
listening to
was
Jared's
not the
yeah.
question.
question. The question was, you gave a couple very specific details to the appearance of hell. Where did you get that information from?
The appearance of hell. What did I say? I want to hear, because I want to know,
People
because I
screaming
don't remember what.
and people screaming from
People
hell. Where does that come from?
screaming, the lake of
Oh yeah,
fire.
Yeah.
Where did
yeah. Why?
where did that
Okay.
originate?
The Bible.
No,
No, it
You
did
can read it in
not.
the Bible.
no.
Yes.
No, it did not originate there. The first depiction of hell, and with the levels of hell, actually started with a non-biblical text called Dante's Inferno.
Yep,
Mhm.
Virgil. And if you haven't read it, I highly recommend that book. It's one of the best books on this topic.
Oh God, Devil May
That's
Cry. We're
exactly where it
talking
came
about
from.
Devil
Is
May Cry
Dante's
here.
Inferno.
There's a new level of
No,
hell.
but
It's called
the mythos that
NonSequitur.
you're talking about, the mythos that you're referring to, did not come from the Bible. It came from Dante's Inferno, and it's just the circles of hell. Each one progressively being worse. Satan being at the very bottom, frozen forever in perpetuity. And each level had a very specific group of people that was in it, based upon their evil that they had done in the during while they were alive. That whole that whole narrative came from that epic poem of sorts.
Okay, well, I'm gonna give you my version of how what I'm gonna explain it. Okay, one, it is under the earth. Now, whether it has parts to it, I don't know how it works. God does. It's not my job to know. My job is to stay away from it. Okay. Now, there are people suffering. Now, on top of that, there are angels there too, and they don't like it. Let's just say that. Okay. Now, Satan is not frozen in time or anything. He's over here. He's up here. And I mean, he's up here with us and with like another 10% of them, if I'm correct. That's based off some study that I did. That there's only like 10% and the other 90 are down there. So, which is why you see so few. I think that's one of the reasons you see so few spiritual experiences that you hear about. You hear a ton, but probably not as much as it should be because there's so few of them up here.
Who said Satan was frozen in time?
Yeah, one of you guys.
No, that was
if I'm correct,
in Dante's
you told me-
Inferno. In Dante's Inferno, the last level of hell, Satan is in this frozen tundra, and he's literally frozen there in place.
Yeah. All right.
No, he's literally
The story
in
of
the
Dante is being
bottom.
taken by Virgil, and Virgil showing him each layer of hell.
Sure. I thought he was saying that. I misunderstood what he was saying. You're good now. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I understand. Everyone has their own interpretation of what they think it is and all this stuff. But I'm just giving you mine. I'm just giving you mine. Now, I gotta ask this question: what do you have to prove the Earth is a ball? Now, trust me, don't use NASA. Like that's one of the things I hate.
Here is the
hate
thing.
when people use NASA.
Hold on. Wait a minute. I can't wait. I just can't. I can't be okay with.
I hate it.
Everything that you
passion.
Everything that you just said, and then you're gonna stop and say, now give me evidence for a globe Earth when you throw out giant and hell and I mean, come on, man, you must be playing.
Look. This is going to be posted on your channel, right? This is going to be posted on your channel, right?
It stays here in perpetuity. And here is the beautiful thing: I am like Red. I don't go to NASA. I don't go to JAXA. I don't go to any of the space agencies. The reason being is because there is a discipline that actually deals with direct measurements of the contour of the Earth. Geodesy. The results from geodesy and the zenith angles that are acquired during the proper application of which the Earth is not a flat plane with topology.
Okay, so that's what you believe. So
yeah, I go with direct measurements and direct data, repeatable data.
I'm guessing you and Red are like best buddies or something. But what are you going to do about satellites? Because I saw Rhetoric, if I'm correct. He was supposed to debate me, but he kind of like backed out, but whatever.
He doesn't even know you exist.
Yes, he does. I left him a message. One, I left it a comments, then I wrote him on Facebook. And then after that, I waited a little while, but he never answered. So I was like, okay. I left him
What do you bring to the table for him, if I can ask? I mean, Jared is good friends with Red. I consider him one of my best buddies there is on the internet. What do you have to bring to him?
He made a video. You want to talk, Jared?
I'm waiting for you.
Here's my thing though. Like, we're like you're here with Jared right now. Like, we can talk about Red's later, and if you want to debate him. But I'm having a hard time keeping up with where we are now. Then going off into like whether or not you and Reds will have a debate, I don't know. I don't know if you do in fact know him or if he knows you exist. But I'm looking for like you to convince me that the Earth is not a globe. And as tempting as it is to go off on these tangents about like the giant stuff, like I'd really like to just hear why it's not a globe and kind of power through that.
Okay, so Jared said the Earth is a ball spinning, etc. Here's where the issue comes in.
We stuck with the shape, not the movement, just the shape, and you ignored what I gave you as my initial rationale for it. What do you have against the results from geodesic surveying?
Okay, so basically from surveying, how do I say this? There is a curve, but it's not the curve that you all think. Because since there's going to be, it's pretty much the opposite of what you guys have. You know, you have a curve going down. It would be a curve going slightly up the more you go out. So basically, the center, because God inscribed a circle on this place. So the more you go out, the more you would see a curve, but it would be going more up rather than anything. And I have evidence of Auguste Piccard for that. He literally went up in a ball tank for that. Okay.
Yeah, and
You
you
know, on
remember
one of
what?
and
Do you
yes, I
remember?
remember.
Do you remember the
Yes, I remember.
details that stemmed from that?
Yes, the oxygen deprivation, etc. But still, he went up there. He talks about what he saw. Okay. Now, on top of that, if we go back to one of Red Rhetoric's videos, where he did for Jeranism, he posted the ISS passing by the moon. Passing by the moon, and I looked at it, and it was the first time I was ever stumped for something. And I'd love to thank Red for this because it was awesome. But it was the first time I was ever stumped for something. So I had to do like another 2 hours of research for this. And then I eventually found my answer. Okay. So Red has the ISS passing by, the moon. Okay. How far is the ISS? Does anyone know? Because I don't. I know it's supposedly
Yeah,
up in space.
240 to 250 miles above the
Okay,
Earth.
258 something miles high.
Somewhere in the ballpark.
Okay,
200,
it's passing by the
250 in
moon.
that ballpark.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Well, I have a video of a literal satellite balloon passing by the moon.
Hang on, pause. I just got a text that is too relevant to pass up. This is from Red. Direct quote, I do not know who this guy is, and I don't have a Facebook.
Yeah, I know, because
That's
it's
true. He
been a
really
while since
doesn't. Red doesn't have a Facebook. I can tell you that.
I left a
so-
mess. I left a comment. I left a comment on one of his videos because he was attacking Jeranism. Now, I may not agree with Jeranism on everything, but I'm gonna defend him still.
Sure.
And I told him, debate me. I can answer all your questions, the questions that Jaren couldn't. Okay. Now, Red, if you're listening, for that satellite video that you have, that's not a satellite. That is a flying mechanism of some kind. It could be a drone, a plane, whatever you want to call it. But that is not a satellite.
You're gonna wake the beast.
Did
You're gonna
you
wake
happen
the
to
beast.
watch Red?
Now,
Did you happen to watch the video? Did you happen to watch Red's video that explained why it could not be anything other than something around 250 miles out? I mean, he actually shows the math and he uses geometry, using angles
here's where
from him, and I think it was Astronomy Live that he did the experiment with. I mean, because they were located at such distances between them, the meeting the fact that when the ISS is actually going to be shown with silhouetted on the moon, when you line up all those features, it was clear that it has to be around 200. I think if I remember his video, he came up with like 248 miles, 240 something miles up there. It was almost exactly where it actually is supposed to be. It's well within that range. There's no way it could be anything other than around that range because of math. Math demonstrates it. Nothing more than that. Math.
okay, now let me explain. I took his video, I looked, and then I looked around. And then I think God put this in my head. He's all like, I want you to show them this.
Negative.
Basically, I got a satellite balloon and it literally passed by the moon. Now, that sounds simple. Oh, it's passing by the moon. Here's where the issue comes in. The satellite balloon was placing a shadow, a literal shadow, on the moon. And I have it. It's on my YouTube channel. You can take a look if you want. It is on my YouTube channel. I put it there. Okay. So there is a satellite balloon only 11 to maybe 20 miles high, maybe 30. Depends on how high it was. But it was literally passing by the moon, giving a shadow. So now, if something only a few miles high is literally giving a shadow on the moon, how is the ISS not doing it? That is supposedly way higher. Either two things. Either I'm lying and you guys don't believe me. Now you can go watch the video for yourself if you want. And you can still call me a liar. Don't care. But the video's out there. Red, you can watch it too. Okay. Or
Red's
red
coming
was
in.
wrong. Red was wrong, and he saw it, but it wasn't the ISS, and it was a drone or a plane.
Okay,
Pick
so
one.
here
Either
here
online
is
or he's on.
So much wrong here.
here is the beautiful thing with that claim of it being a drone or an aircraft. Do you understand how parallax works?
No, explain it. Explain it.
Really?
I,
No, really.
I,
I
I
mean,
know.
I'm not trying to
I
be.
think
I'm
I
not trying to.
understand what you're talking
I'm
about.
not trying to be condescending, but I really want to know the answer to this. So please be honest. You honestly, you're saying you don't know what parallax means?
Oh, of course not. I'm okay with not knowing stuff. Teach me.
I bet he does. He just doesn't know the word for it.
Oh, all right.
That's
I have an
pretty
idea. I
amazing,
know what you're
brother.
talking about.
Hang on.
Because I remember
This will
talking about it.
You
hang
did 2
on.
hours of
This will
research, but doesn't know what parallax is.
this will demonstrate it beautifully, which I will admit I have my doubts of how much you actually watched Red's video, because had you done it, it actually would give you enough of an understanding for this. But go ahead and follow me here for a second. Pick a hand, left or right hand. Hold it so your fingers are pointing up at a full arm's length away. Pick a finger and hold up only one of them. Look at the tip of your finger. Now, look at the tip of your finger and then close one of your eyes. Does your finger stay in the same location? Now switch to the other. Now switch to the other eye. Okay. Did it go back to where it was before, or did it move even more?
It moved.
Yeah, see,
that's what I'm
that is parallax. What your eyes actually do is an active parallax of whatever you are looking at. You have one angle from one eye to the object, you have another angle from your other eye to the object, and where those two paths cross is where the item actually is. So that's what Red and Astronomy Live did. They were a known distance apart, both looking towards the moon to get the transit of the ISS. With that known distance and the known angles that they were able to measure, and then simple, basic trig, they were able to figure out the distance to the ISS. And that distance to the ISS is farther, much farther than you have claimed here in this hangout the distance to the dome.
And can I add, when it comes to evidence, to me, math is one of the most purest form of evidence. You can't say that the equations are wrong. You can't say the math is wrong. Math is math, and so I will trust math to say that. And I by the way, I did see his work on this, and it was correct. I would say that the ISS is where it's at because the math says so, and anything else would just be fundamentally wrong because the math will take precedence over anybody's belief because math is objective.
Well, let's just ask him.
Beautifully said, both Steve and Jared. How's it going? I know. I have been summoned. Yeah.
He slums every so often. He'll come in. Yeah.
No, but it's not that I don't trust math, but I don't trust it 100%. I don't. It's just
then you don't trust it.
Then you don't trust math either. Yeah. You trust the fact you go over a bridge that it was created that's not going to fall apart. You trust the engineering, but you just okay.
There's one thing that's being missed by all of this. In the original video, there's a little thing in brackets. It's called a part 1. There's actually a part 2 to the actual observation that myself and Astronomy Live did for the International Space Station. Not only did we confirm its altitude, we also confirmed its size and its speed. So, question. I asked for one example of a man-made object with the capability of going 4.7 miles per second without disintegrating. Go.
Okay. Here's where I'm going to switch it up on you. Okay. One, I don't know anything like that. I will admit, I don't know anything like that. Okay. But here's where I'm gonna switch it on you. Your size of the moon and my size of the moon are two totally different things. Your size of the moon is huge. It is. Even though the Earth is supposedly bigger, your size of the moon is huge. My size of the moon isn't that big. I've seen planes literally fly by the sun pretty quickly. Pretty quickly. Not as fast as the ISS, but pretty darn quickly. It did not take long. So, in my opinion, it's just a faster vehicle.
Well,
That's just a faster vehicle.
Here is the problem with where you just started, and I have 2 points I'm going to hit here. The first one's really quick. While you assert a different size of the moon than what the standard model has actually measured the moon to be, that they end up being the same angular size. So they end up being the same apparent size. So your assertion about the different size needs some extra support for it to be considered, or I'm just going to put it out in the bin with the rest of the dog shit that I scooped up earlier today.
Yeah, but
when it comes to Red's question about demonstrating a craft that can do what the ISS has been measured to do, and you went off and really didn't address the question. Well, here is the beautiful thing with that question. I do hold 2 degrees, a bachelor's and an associate's. My associate's is in aeronautical engineering, which deals directly with the design and function of aircraft. And I can tell you this right now, before even getting into the math of the analysis of the aerodynamic properties of the ISS itself, as has been shown, seen, and recorded from both professionals and amateurs, if that thing were flying at the height of a regular aircraft, it would rip itself to shreds.
And also another challenge I want to do. The reason why the moon appears so massive in my video is because I'm using a P900 at max zoom. Take a P900, zoom in on the moon all the way, zoom in all the way, and the size of the moon in your monitor will be the same as the size of the moon in my monitor. So you can do comparisons like that. You're probably comparing my footage to one that you took yourself, which was on a different camera with a much lower zoom capability. So the sizes are going to appear different.
Oh, no, I take your video as fact. I believe you. Like, I'm the type of person that I don't really believe you guys are lying. I believe you guys are believing a lie, but I don't believe you guys are lying when you actually go out there and do your experiments. I believe you're telling the truth. I saw the video. I believe you. I'm not comparing it. I'm not comparing it to anything.
Then where's the so-called deception? Because you're telling me that the ISS is not what I and many others have confirmed it to actually be, a craft in space doing orbital velocity. I'm just wondering, how can you say that with such confidence, but yet have absolutely nothing to substantiate that claim?
Well, I wish I could substantiate it and post a video, but, to show you guys what I actually talk about. But, you'd have to go to my channel and all this stuff and look it up. But that's a whole nother thing.
Do you want us to watch it?
I'm a very physical person.
If you send us a link, we'll play the video. As long as it doesn't have anything copyrighted or anything, we can play whatever video you want to see.
Well, actually, I would just ask one question because I could probably respond to it without even watching it. One question. In your video about this, balloon satellite that you said that you had, how many observers did you have viewing this thing? Was it just you?
Oh, no, I keep everything to myself. Yeah, it's just me. I'm a lone guy.
Okay, then if it's just you, then you do not have the capability of figuring out how far away that craft is. The reason why we had that capability is because we had 2 observers looking at it at the exact same time, in which we could get parallax measurements off of it. You did not take the precautions that we took. You did not do the type of research that we did. Therefore, any claim that you make as to the altitude of this craft that you filmed can be dismissed outright.
Yeah, not really, because unfortunately there's a shadow literally passing by the moon in a balloon, in a simple as balloon satellite. Now, how high is a balloon satellite? 11, 20, 30? don't know,
just say it.
honestly.
No,
I wish I
That would
knew.
get much better than that.
I wish I knew.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
the fact
Just
that
say
it's
it.
casting a
I don't
shadow on
fucking
it,
know.
the fact that it's casting a shadow on it means it's passing by it, and it's really close. So
Where did
either
you get
I'm
a balloon
lying
satellite from, if I can
or
ask?
you fell into the lie.
I'm just curious, tell me, where did you get your hands on a balloon satellite to be able to launch it? Because these things can affect traffic. They can affect aircraft traffic. They have to be listed and notified that you're releasing a balloon satellite because they can go very high in the air, up to thousands of miles.
I mean,
So,
hypothetically
very high.
speaking, if this guy did capture a weather balloon, then that's fine. You captured a weather balloon. My assertion
he
is not
launched
that you
one. They
did.
say he launched one.
Well, if
he
he
said he launched one, which
He
I'm
launched
curious.
one to do an experiment.
Oh no, no, no,
Hang
no,
on.
no.
Those
No,
were the
no.
words
I can't
that
launch a
you
balloon
said.
satellite.
Those
Okay,
were the
well-
words you used
Oh no,
about
no.
a half
It
hour
was
ago when you
words
were
to someone
talking.
else. I was just
Okay.
explaining that it was sent up.
For all right, let's
My bad.
correct
If you guys,
let's correct some things right off the bat. First of all, you didn't record a shadow. You recorded something called a silhouette. There's a difference. Secondly, what I recorded was not a shadow, as again was a silhouette. You did not do parallax measurements. I did, which means I have the capability of figuring out how far away from us it was, and by knowing my angle at which I observed it, I can figure out its altitude. You did not take these measurements. So you cannot make any claims as to how far away it is, how high it is, how fast it's going, anything. The only thing you can say for certain is that I saw something. Well, that's great. That doesn't confirm what you say it is, which is, quote, a balloon satellite, which, by the way, there's no such thing.
Well, there's a balloon satellite.
Yes, there is.
The weather balloon is a balloon satellite.
Yeah.
No, weather
there are.
balloons, yes, but I'm talking about satellites as in orbit. You're not going to have
they're
a
called
balloon.
Oh
they
yeah,
are
of
called
course
balloon
it's not going to
satellites.
go to orbit.
Yeah, of course.
Because there is no orbit.
No, there is.
Echo
We've
one
confirmed
was
it.
a balloon
It
satellite.
doesn't
It was one of the
exist.
first ones.
It's one of the things that I can't get it through. Like I can't get it through enough. There is no outer space.
A YouTuber by the name of Astronomy Live literally has hours upon hours of video calculating orbits of objects in space. He has hours and hours of footage that show that you are wrong on that. Orbits exist. We have seen it. They can be tracked and they can be predicted, which is how the ISS Transit Finder works in the first place. If the orbital elements were not known, we would not have been where we were to capture the ISS transiting in front of the moon.
Yeah, that sounds very good. But
yeah,
now it's going to come down to no. It's really going to come down to who's telling the truth, me or you. That's what it ends up coming down to. It's not that I don't believe what you're telling me. I believe you. I see your videos. I believe what you're saying. But the fact of the matter is, who is telling the truth or who believes the lie, me or you? Because I believe you're telling the truth, but you could be believing a lie.
Why would somebody, and I mean this very sincerely, why would somebody trust you?
Yeah.
And I don't, no offense, but you don't seem to have any proficiency in math. I mean, would you admit that you were pretty much know nothing about math? Right?
Oh, no.
So why would
I'm the same way.
I stopped.
It's not a fault. People don't have to know math, right?
Oh, no,
I'm asking you.
I'm horrible.
You don't seem to. If you don't know what parallax is, then I'm doubting you understand geometry. But Reds does,
I'm
and
not
he has
a math person.
friend who is a PhD who knows these topics. They do know math, and they did experiments involving math. Now, if I didn't know anything about this stuff, right? If I was just some outside observer, let's say ideal observer theory, and I said, look, I got this guy W over here who doesn't know what parallax is. I swear I could probably ask you half a dozen simple math questions you probably wouldn't be able to answer, but I'm not going to sharpshoot.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't know.
But here's somebody like Reds that I have already known does know the maths. Who am I supposed to trust? I'm going to go with the guy that actually has shown that the math works. Because as soon as you start saying the math is wrong, you're going to have to write some papers on this and show mathematicians and the entire scientific community that the math that they've been using for so long is fundamentally wrong. And I think you have a very high burden of proof in order to demonstrate something like that. Do you not?
Well, you got to understand, if it's based off a false premise, that's what you're going to go off of. If you're going off the fact that if you go off the fact that you say, I don't know what this place is, I don't know how it's built, I don't know anything about it, let me try and figure it out. Yeah. But if you're going off of, the Earth is a ball, from there, and you go off that standpoint, then guess what? that's what you're going to come to no matter what. But if you
W,
say,
what is the
oh,
false
I don't
premise
know,
of
let me figure it
math?
out.
We didn't
You
we
say it
didn't
again?
start from any standpoint. We started from one
Fourth
thing,
time.
one understanding. The one thing that we knew is that the ISS was going to be able to be observable in this part of the sky at this particular time. From there, we went in with the assumption that we didn't know its size, we didn't know its altitude, we didn't know its speed. The point of that night was to confirm all of that for ourselves and not take anyone else's word for it. And when we actually did the observation, everything checked out. So the only entity left, I guess, that you can call a liar in the situation is reality itself. You would be calling reality itself a liar.
No. I'd be calling certain of your measurements lies. Meaning,
Which
not
one?
that you're lying about the measurement, but that the measurement that you got is based off a false premise. Because you already
Like
believe
what?
it's
What is
close,
the
it's
false
far away.
premise?
Because
Hang on,
you
Paul.
already believe the moon's far away. You do.
Hang on.
They
You
didn't
do.
Hang on.
prove that.
Hang on. Two things really quick. You keep asserting that the moon and sun are closer than what is stated. Here's your problem
Yeah.
with that. We do have ways of actually measuring the distance to the moon through two methodologies. One with a powerful enough laser and retroreflectors, and the other one which predates that by far through radio signals, through quite literally bouncing a signal off of the moon and timing how long it takes that signal to propagate from your transmitter to the moon and back. It's called an EME bounce, which I have taken
okay.
part in a couple of them.
Jared.
And
I think Jared knows where I'm going to go with this.
You want to know what makes it even better is that all of this about the size and the distance to the moon is irrelevant, because you don't actually need to know the size of the moon. You don't need to know the distance to the moon. The only thing you need to know is the angular size of the moon. The moon was just there as a visual reference for angular size. And guess what? The angular size of the moon can be measured directly, which, by the way, on that night, if someone wanted to watch part 2, which is Astronomy Live's video, you would have seen that he actually did that. He measured the angular size of the moon that night directly.
Look, I understand. But we're talking about, listen to me. We're talking about something so far away, it's going to be difficult to get an accurate measurement. Whether people want to believe it or not. Now, you might be able to get a decent measurement or somewhere along the lines, but it's not going to be completely accurate. That's a fact because it's so far away.
Less than 1%. Less than 1%.
Now,
at 99 point something % accuracy can be achieved with an EME bounce.
I really highly doubt that. Because you guys said you use reflectors to bounce whatever off.
Well, no, you can actually bounce the signal. Hang on, as a ham radio operator, KB6HHZ, that I got when I was 13, you have to learn a little bit about this stuff. And I can tell you right now, they do bounces off the moon with certain frequencies, and you could actually get halfway around the planet, and you can actually test the time delay. You know, it takes about almost a little over 2 seconds, about, give or take. So you can actually tell that it's far away because the speed of light has a very specific propagation speed, 186,232.16 whatever miles per second. People in the meters, sorry, but 3 million meters. But we know this. We can actually determine this. We can actually say, hey, I want to talk to somebody halfway around the world. I'm going to bounce this off the moon, and they will get a delay. This is measurable.
Yeah, why not
I haven't done that personally, but I know other people that have done that. So that only means one thing, that the Earth is a couple light seconds away, or I think it's 200 some odd light seconds away, or what is it, 1.5?
Yeah, this is where the issue comes. This is where the issue comes in. What if everything's just bouncing off the dome? Like you aim it towards there, and why not?
The reason why it's not bouncing off the dome is because the dome is supposed to be everywhere, not just in one part of the sky. And guess where is the only part of the sky that we actually get reflected? Yeah, but where is the only part of the sky that we actually get those reflective bounces? The part of the sky that is occupied by the moon. The moon is the factor which allows us to get that signal back. So either the dome only covers the moon because reasons, or there's no dome.
Yeah, it doesn't work when
Or
there's no moon. Fancy that.
or they're bouncing either one, they're bouncing it off the reflection of the moon and hitting the dome, or two.
Well-
Okay, they are bouncing it off the dome, and they are
Maybe
bouncing
there's
it off
just
the
no
moon,
dome.
and the
Well,
moon is
hang on.
created of something specific that you can
Hang
bounce
on,
it
and
off of.
hang on.
Because the moon is its own light.
Here is your problem with that next step you just took. And this is where my experience dealing with maintaining and operating UHF, VHF, and other radiated frequency communications equipment comes in. When you get a signal propagation, your carrier actually stays in fidelity for only the center portion of the actual transmitted path, depending on your antenna aperture type. When you get out toward the fringes, you get side lobe. You actually get self-caused interference in different frequencies. If you want to test to see if you're still getting a reflected signal from those outer edges, you change your receiver frequency to match the side lobes. And then if it's still reflecting off something that's not visually there, you would still be able to pick up that side lobe if it was actually reflecting off something. Funnily enough, that doesn't happen when we go from pointing the directional antenna at the moon to being just half a degree off of it.
Well, then, do me a favor then. Let me ask this question. When you have satellite TV, satellite this, satellite that, it's pointed upward in every direction from millions of
Nope.
people across America.
Not in every
where's
direction.
the signal
not
coming
in
from?
every direction. It's here's the beautiful thing. You can actually create your own directional antenna and actually find the coordinates of whatever TV satellite you're looking for, get the frequency, and use that self-made cone-shaped directional antenna to limit where you're actually testing for the signal. And you can pinpoint it, and oddly enough, it'll match the coordinates that are given by the location of where the satellite's supposed to be. And if you move even just a fraction of an arc second off, you lose the signal. And here's the thing, you say that the satellite dishes are pointing all over the place, but when you actually map out the angles that they're set up to, they all converge at a point that is really fucking high above the surface of the Earth.
Hold on. So what you're saying is that
that's
pretty
if
much
you do it off of a curved surface.
So what you're saying is that they're all pointing basically in one direction.
Depends.
Wouldn't that be kind of weird?
Depends on the carrier. Hang on. Depends on the carrier of TV signal you are looking for. See, you keep ignoring details that are said to you in these responses, and it's really showing intellectual dishonesty on your part, and I would much appreciate it if you stopped.
Yeah, I'm not being dishonest. I'm just questioning what you're saying, because you're saying there's a portion of them that are pointing in one direction, okay? Now, the globe is moving at very high speeds, plus satellites.
And the satellites for satellite TVs are geosynchronous, which means that their speed is relative to the Earth 0, which means it's staying over the same point of the surface of the Earth.
Okay.
Correct.
Now,
also, one more thing. Okay, you go first.
Okay. All right. Now, red got the ISS. Where are the rest of the satellites?
The rest of the satellites are too high up to see with the Nikon P900. The International Space Station is the size of a football field and relatively close to us as far as orbits go, because it's called low Earth orbit. Most satellites are in the thing called geosynchronous orbit, which is what Jared alluded to. And geosynchronous orbit is around, give or take, 24,000 miles away and not 260. And plus, the satellites there are a lot smaller than the International Space Station. So that's where the rest of the satellites are. Now, if you want to see the rest of the satellites in orbit, once again, I invite you to go over to Astronomy Live's channel, who has cataloged hundreds of these and has also calculated their orbits.
Okay, that's fine by me, but I really want that physical evidence. Okay, I hope his channel has it. I hope
I
his
don't know
channel
what you
has.
mean by physical evidence.
I don't.
You haven't.
I'm a very physical person, meaning if you say something to me like, "Oh, my arm is whatever 6 feet long," you better show me your arm being 6 feet long. If
So
you say the
basically,
core
you're
exists,
not.
okay.
Is this
I'm a-
statement I'm about to say true or false? You're not going to
Tell me.
believe any of the information that we have to show you, which is like parallax measurements of the ISS, confirming its size and speed, optical confirmation that satellites are in fact up there and having their orbits plotted to such a great accuracy that we can predict where they're going to be in the future. You're not going to believe any of that unless someone personally flies your ass to space and shows it to you right there.
Oh, Red,
No,
it's
this
even
is what
worse than that. I will go out on a limb and say that even that won't convince him, because this guy holds a belief that there is a literal physical location of hell below the surface of the earth, despite having met his own burden of proof to have such a belief of going there, seeing there, tangibly confirming it for himself. You are an intellectually dishonest person, sir.
Yeah, you know,
No.
he makes a good point.
Here,
Hang on,
let me give
W.
you an
Hang
example.
on,
Red.
W. Hang on. Why do you have a double standard there? Because Jared makes a very valid point. Maybe you should answer it. Why is it you have not actually experienced hell? You've not seen hell. You've not gone down and seen people down there. I assume that you have not, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you're willing
Of
to
course I
accept
have.
that as the case. Okay, so you're willing to believe that as the case, and then you're saying that you want physical evidence. The amount of evidence that Red's given you is physical evidence. It's mathematical evidence and physical. The silhouette that the ISS has on the moon could only be the case for parallax from two different locations being measured at two different locations. That is how it works. If that isn't good enough, then I think most people will just tell you that you're living in a delusionary world in that case. Because
Oh no.
at that point, you're
That
denying
video that he
reality.
put, I believe it's the ISS. Now, do I believe the measurements he got about how far it is and how big it
Then
is,
show us the map.
and how big the moon was correct? Probably not. But the fact that
All right, well,
the ISS
probably
was up
not.
there,
Reg, would
or
you be
whatever
willing to have
craft
him?
it was,
Hang
yes,
on.
I believe that.
Reg, would you be willing? Would you be willing to have him personally show you where your calculations were wrong?
Yes, how about this? I'll do it this way. I will go step by step on how I determined the altitude of the ISS, and then you tell me at which point you disagree. Then we'll find out where the problem really lies. How's that? Then you can tell me how I got it wrong.
Okay, here's where the problem lies. Remember,
Jesus fucking Christ.
Look, I'm talking. Let me speak.
I know
How do you know
exactly
it's
what
not
you're
right?
going to
You
say.
haven't seen his math.
Hang on.
Wait.
Hang on.
How do you
let me
make
speak.
that concession?
He is going
Look,
to
listen to me.
say that math starts from a false premise. You have said that at least half a dozen times.
No, I
Please
wasn't gonna say that.
demonstrate
did.
how the math being used is starting from a false premise.
Yeah, I've asked that question 4 times. You notice he didn't answer that. So
No, how does it start
did
from
say
a
that,
false
W.
premise? Well,
Does math start
how
from
can you
false
know if
present?
you haven't gone? No, it's really this simple. How do you guys know how far it is if you haven't gone there yourself?
No.
Very simple.
Don't. Hang on. No, Reg, don't
No.
let him do this. We ask questions here, and I
I'm
like
being
fair
honest.
answers. Okay,
No,
so
you're not.
So what assumption is math has that you disagree with? You keep on making that assertion. What is it about math that is wrong from this base assumptions? What? Give us something.
Here's my example of what I would want, but that NASA doesn't, want to do.
That
I
is
prefer
not
what
the
you
question
want
at
or what
hand.
math is. Just answer the fucking question. What is about math's assumption that you find to be wrong? It does nothing fuck all to do with NASA.
Yeah, because the fact is, for you to actually measure something, you need to actually go out and measure it yourself. And when I mean
We
measure,
did.
I don't mean like go outside and look and just look. Because I can go outside and look at a tree. I don't know how tall it is or anything. I can make guesses in my head how tall it is.
Actually,
And I promise you, I'll probably get it wrong. Now you're talking about the moon and the ISS. That's all the way up there. And you can't even walk outside and guess how big a tree is by looking at it?
No, I actually
Like,
can, and
no,
let me
I'm
correct
not.
that right now.
So I'm
Nope,
not going to believe you. I'm
let me
not going to
correct
believe
that.
your measurement of how far it
No,
is.
no,
I'm
no.
just
Let
not.
me correct that. It is amazing to me how fucking wrong you are. And now I'm going to explain it in excruciating detail. Parallax measurements, trigonometry, all these things can be confirmed to work in scaled down models of our observation. So guess what? If you built a scale model and you measured it directly, you would get a value. And then if you measured it using parallax, you would get the exact same value. So parallax measurements are as good as measuring it directly. If I had a tape measure that was long enough to reach the International Space Station so that I can get a value off of it, that would be as good as parallax, and parallax would be as good as that because they both confirm each other. That has been shown to be the case in scaled down observations, in bigger observations, to even bigger observations like finding out the altitude of the International Space Station. You can confirm this. For you to say otherwise shows that you haven't done the due diligence to actually study this properly.
And by the way, if you guys have noticed, Kyle went into outer space recently, and he just literally got back, so he has some time dilation here. So that's what he looks like now, people. So
nice beard.
how was your space flight there, Kyle? Did I see that you kind of grew some hair?
Also deepened the voice a tad.
Oh yeah. Oh, I like it. Yeah, you got manly. Like that. But yeah, so anyways,
so back to what I was saying.
I don't know what to make of this, Reds. I'm not saying my PO meter is going pegged, but something's not right here.
No, it's because I'm a very
what's not right here is he has been asked probably 8 times by now to substantiate the claim that the mathematics used began from a false premise. I am still waiting for that answer.
Yeah,
okay,
he never really
how about this?
False premises for math.
How about this? After this debate is all over, I want you to walk outside. I want you to just walk outside. I want you to just go 20 feet away from a tree. Probably a big tree you can find. Tell me how big it is and what is the measurement of it.
Okay, but that doesn't answer the question.
Measuring. No. Pay attention. Without any
math.
measuring equipment, without anything. Tell me how big it is.
But we're using math to do that. We don't use our own subjective vision because it's very difficult.
What Red is doing with, I guess, a friend of his.
It's very difficult for one person to measure distance. It really is. Even with binocular vision, it's still very difficult. Okay, that's why they did their experiment with 2 different people from a distance, because math. Jared's asked you. I've asked you. I don't think we're going to ask you again because I think a lot of people are getting fed up, W. So sincerely, please answer directly. Don't drop into something else. You said there are assumptions with math that are wrong. Can you give me the assumption that you believe with math that is incorrect?
It's based off the... Listen to me.
It's based off a false premise. Please demonstrate the false premise.
I understand
let him
the
finish,
false
guys.
premise, but I've already explained the false premise. But you got to understand, Red is looking at something from the outside.
No, fuck Reds. No offense. We're not talking about Reds. What is the false assumption? Like, for example, you say, well, zeros don't exist. 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2. The transitivity property doesn't work. Reflexivity doesn't work. Commutativity doesn't work. Give me something in math that is wrong that we have that are some basal assumptions in math, like Peano's axioms. What axiom is wrong?
Okay. Here's one of the reasons why I don't like math too much. Okay. I'll explain it. I had a friend, okay? And we were talking, and she had some homework. She showed me her homework, okay? And this was a math problem. And I looked at it for real. Okay. Supposedly, if I'm correct, she had to figure out what the tree was using, the triangle angles, all that stuff. Okay. And the whole point is the person at the end was 100 feet away. The tree was over here, and just using certain trigonometrical numbers, they were supposed to figure out the size of the tree, just using those certain numbers. And then I decided, you know what? I'm going to apply this to real life, not paper. I'm going to apply this same problem to real life. So I went outside, and I walked as far as I could from a tree that was close to me. And the first thought in my head is, how the hell am I going to measure this right now? Just by looking at it, nothing else. Just by looking at it, how am I going to measure this?
You
And I was
wanna know
like,
how?
holy shit, I can't.
Hey,
And no,
hey,
and I
you
was
wanna
like,
know
I
how?
can't do this.
Really,
I got this.
really
I got
simple.
this.
Take a
Really
measurement of
simple.
it.
Really
Hang on.
simple.
I got. Okay.
It's really simple how you do that with the proper equipment.
Thank
Yes.
you. You actually take a
So-
measurement of it.
Here's how I would measure the distance to or the height of the tree as well as the distance to the tree. I would have two observers. And then with those two observers, I would calculate at which angle we're looking at it relative to our baseline. Then from there, I will look at what angle we would have to look up. And then I would do some basic trig and figure out the height of that tree. This is the same exact process that I use to confirm, not guess, but confirm the altitude of the International Space Station. From those measurements, we were able to calculate also its size and speed. If you say this cannot be done, I swear to fuck, I might actually make a video demonstrating it can actually be the case. Then I will actually climb a fucking tree with a tape measure to show that the values match.
And it's even easier
With
than
a
that.
tree,
Look at W.
you-
Hang on, W.
look,
W.
there's
W.
a difference.
Hang on, W. It's even easier than that. Look at if you know the base of something, and you know the angle of the from the base to the hypotenuse, you could use trigonometry to determine the height of something because you're determining the hypotenuse. So if you know certain things about the system in trigonometry, that's all you need. You just need to know the distance, right? You can measure that, and you need to know the angle, and you can figure out the other things because that's how triangles work.
Also,
Okay, so
let me add one thing. You said that you started out with, let me try this and apply this to real life. You started out with at least two known factors, which is what you need. You had known angles, you had known distances, and you can't just look at a tree and know its size, know its dimensions without some kind of a measure. And that is why we use measuring devices, because we can't just eyeball it. And even if we were to do the math perfectly, we would still not have a perfect value for how tall that tree is. We would have an approximate value that would be within error or within
Standard deviation.
yeah,
standard
you'd be
deviation.
in the ballpark.
Yeah.
You're gonna have a pretty good. Your measure
if
your
you come in
limiting factor, right? So,
I believe you guys when it comes to the tree. The reason why is because the tree's down here with us. We can get measurements. I can literally like go outside, grab some measurements,
is
and I know
totally
I can figure out the
irrelevant.
height of the tree.
Hang on. So if
But
trigonometry works
the
with the
moon and
tree,
the
then why
ISS
doesn't it work with the
The moon
ISS?
and the ISS are two totally different things. It's
Okay,
not
this is my
comparable to
wheel.
a tree that is close by that we can touch. We can't touch that.
trigonometry.
We can only see it.
Actually, we can. We can. Let me
So-
explain how and why we can. Hold on. Do you agree that light moves at a set value through a vacuum and at varying degrees through other media? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, well, you're
No.
blatantly wrong, and
Okay.
show that you're wrong. And this is one of those observable, provable things we can do. We can put a beam of light through this gas at this temperature, this fluid at that temperature, through as near a vacuum as we can make it, and we can come up with values that match the predictions. Now, we take those same values, we apply them, we shoot a beam of near light from the ground to a satellite, and I've done this before, and you can look at the satellite, you can shoot the beam, and you will get a value. It's simply pinging the satellite. You send a burst of data to the satellite, and the satellite immediately translates it and sends it back to you, and you can track the amount of time, and it will match within those standard deviations based on varying atmospheric densities. It's really simple crap. It sounds super technical, but it's really basic, simple crap. And when you take the known satellite orbit tables that we have, you go from a known ground station with a very well documented location on the map. You look at a satellite here, you get this value. You look at a satellite there, you get that value. And it is as simple as just slewing the antenna to a new point, and you will see that not only do you have to aim to account for a curvature, but you also will get values that match based on the round trip time of light, which is a physical measurement, because it, from the time it leaves us to the time it gets to the satellite and the known time it takes to get through all the circuits in the satellite and back down to us, measurable. These are scientific measurements we are taking. You cannot argue that they're not. Just because you're not there to touch it doesn't mean that we're not taking scientific physical measurements.
And also,
I
I
don't
just
know.
want
I
to point
believe we
out,
take.
I just want to point out the special pleading that was made. Basically, I heard trigonometry will work just fine for a tree, but it won't work for the International Space Station because
It's
reasons.
too far.
It's
too
not
far.
too far,
Math
dude.
doesn't stop. Math doesn't
Yes,
stop
it
working because of
is.
distance. W.
Math does
does
not
stop
arbitrarily
working.
stop working because an object is further away from you. Math does not arbitrarily stop working. I mean, the rules of trigonometry will work at any distance. Understand this. If you have the ability to measure, which, by the way, we have shown that we had the ability to measure the angles at hand, we can use those angles to figure out an answer to how far away it is, how high is it, that kind of stuff. Trigonometry does not arbitrarily stop at a certain point. If you're asserting that it does, then you need to back that up. If you can't, well, then you know what my recommendation is going to be at that point.
It's look.
You can take
math
a right
works
angle
to a
triangle.
certain
No,
to a certain degree and a certain distance. There comes
All
a
right.
point where it does come to guesswork.
It's not
No,
There is a
guesswork.
lot of
hang on,
theories
hang on,
and a lot
hang
of
on, guys.
guesswork in
There
math
wasn't
and
any
in
guesswork.
science. Well, we all
And there
know
wasn't
this.
any. There wasn't any guesswork within my calculations. And this is why I said at the very beginning, I will go through my measurements step by step and show you that not only did we not have any guesswork involved, but that the math reflects reality. I want to actually do this where I go through it step by step and you tell me where I fucked up. Please, sir, I would very much like to be educated on this. Because as of right now, you're not making any sense whatsoever, and you're special pleading like a motherfucker right now.
No, look. I am just stating the obvious.
Hang on.
Yeah,
Hang on.
Obvious.
Pause.
No, you're
Hang
not.
on.
You're
Obvious.
making shit up.
Hang on.
And I
literally
think
Hang on.
that's the difference
W.
between.
Hang on.
No, listen.
Hang on.
I think that's
I
the
have
difference between
I have a
me and
question
you
that
guys.
might get us on. I have a question that might get us onto the same page. Well, I apologize. Not just one, two. Do you know what a ratio is?
Yes.
Okay,
Can
sure
you
about that?
demonstrate? Can you demonstrate where a ratio will fail to give you consistent results simply by using a number that is too big?
No.
Then you need to get off this whole math doesn't work at distance thing, because that's all trigonometry is, ratios.
Yeah. Now
Yeah,
apply
you're
it to
fighting a
real
losing argument on
life.
that, W.
It's
Like,
something so
D-
far
W,
away.
W,
That's
W, hang
that's.
on.
I'm
W,
telling you,
listen
that's
to me very carefully.
really hard. That's
Distance,
really rough.
distance,
You're going down a rough street. You really are. You're
W.
saying you can measure
Yeah, the
whatever
road
one
to your
light year
brain
away,
is
decorated
250,000
with
miles
math.
away. You're
Yeah,
telling
I'm
me
sorry,
you
but you're
can measure
you're
250,000
just
miles
broken.
away? No. No.
W, you're broken record
You
at
have a
this point.
limit.
Listen to me very carefully. Listen to me very carefully. Distance doesn't matter to ratios and trig. It makes no difference. You're really fighting a losing battle here, and it's not helping anything you're saying by saying that
Okay.
the math
Let's change
just
subjects then,
reasons is
because
wrong.
we've been on this
doesn't
for
vary.
a while.
Dude, hold on. I have a visual for you right here. Hold on. Let me explain why trig doesn't vary at distance. You've got your triangle right here. Sorry, let me get it centered. You've got your triangle right here. This corner, this corner, this corner. Set angles. The only thing that's about to vary are the lengths of the legs. I move this. This is a ratio. We know that in the short distance, all of these angles are going to be the same. We move out. All of these angles are the same. We can move this exponentially. It is one of the laws of trigonometry. Now, don't go off on, laws you can't prove. No, in math, we have laws because they are ideal circumstances. In this circumstance, when you take a measurement X, measurement Y, compare the angles, plug in the equations, these are ratios. They never change. They are 100% accurate. in the circumstances that they are applied to, if they're correctly applied. So you can't argue that trig doesn't work at a distance just because we need more and more and more finite measuring tools to get there. We use those tools because we as humans have very poor measuring skills. And so that's why we go into stuff like the sub-millimeter measuring tools, or millimeter wavelength measuring tools, because we can get hyper accurate measurements, and these measurements still bear out at the subatomic scale and at the macro scale. You can't argue that trig doesn't work, because trig is trig is trig.
And to add on to that, the amount of accuracy that we got, we were counting it pixel by pixel on our original video. Watch it if you don't believe me. Watch it. And this is the level. Well, obviously not, since you're saying that, oh, it doesn't work because distance will make math fuck up because reasons. Oh, I can't justify it. Dude, you're talking out of your ass.
Because you're human.
Which is why I didn't use my eye. I didn't use my human eye to make this measurement, dude. I did not use any human element. I use actual equipment that is well within the capabilities of measurement. And guess what? From there, I was able to derive this value, which, by the way, was, going back to what Jared said, was literally 3% off of the accepted value when you were looking at the orbital elements at that time. 3% difference. We were accurate to within 3%. Not bad for something that's supposedly impossible, huh?
Oh my God. It's like you guys don't get it. Like you guys don't get it.
Sure, I'm not the one that gets it.
When there's a limit to you, and you're a limit to your equipment. If you think your equipment is unlimited, you're insane.
The limit to the equipment. Hang on. The limit of the equipment.
And if you
the limit of the equipment is why he was 3% off.
Not only that, but what I was measuring the distance to the International Space Station, because the P1000, or the P900 in this case, is good enough for that type of measurement. I wasn't going to use the P900 to measure a distance to Alpha Centauri. I would need a lot more expensive equipment to make that measurement. However, for something like this, for something in low Earth orbit, which I have a visual reference being the angular size of the moon, which, by the way, was measured directly on that night because we have access to the equipment that was needed, i.e. an LX200 telescope with auto-tracking capabilities and the ability to access astrometry. Yeah, we had the equipment, we had the know-how, we had the mathematics, we had the base, we had everything needed to make this observation. We were well within the capability of our equipment, and we were so within it that we only had an error of 3% off of the accepted value when you look at the ISS's orbital elements. And by the way, my 3% error was because I didn't take into account the curvature of the Earth in my calculations. However, Astronomy Live did, and his value got it to within less than 1% difference from the accepted value, showing that these methods, this equipment, these mathematics work to give us an accurate answer that reflects reality. If you do not believe this, then you don't believe reality itself. In that case, you have bigger problems.
No, because then we have another issue to solve. Debunk my video, where the satellite is passing by the moon, literally giving a shadow. And don't say it's glare. Don't say it's anything.
It's
a shadow.
Hang on. It's really simple.
So then,
hang on.
Let's be real.
Hang on. No.
Hold on a sec, Jared.
Debunk my video.
1 second, Jared. This is the producer. If you interrupt again, I'm going to make you leave the show. This is to W. He says, hang on, and you immediately trampled him. Stop it. Don't make us stop you from interrupting again. You understand?
All right.
Now, you said debunk your video. I can do it without even looking at it based on the information you have provided. You have an incomplete data set. Ergo, no reliable results can be garnered from it.
Exactly.
That is that
There
what
you
you
go.
think? So
That's
Well,
what we
that's
know.
so my
based
thing,
based on the information you have provided in this hangout, you have an incomplete data set to make any reliable results beyond conjecture based on what is contained in your video. Based
need
on
two
the
people for these
information you have provided.
Based on the fact that you admitted that you only had one observer, you literally can't make any parallax measurements off of one observer because there is no parallax there. So we don't. So basically, what Jared's saying is right. All you have is conjecture. You don't have anything more than that. So from there, what am I supposed to do with this video? What measurements am I supposed to get from it?
Yep.
let me ask this question.
And I think this goes.
Can I
Well, hang
speak?
on, we're gonna have to get to super chat here, but I think this really goes to the heart of the matter. I mean, you have people like Reds, and you have people like Astronomy Live and Jared, people that do these things and that know these subjects. They know math, right? Here you come along, and you're clearly somebody who has no clue about basic math. I mean, stuff we learned in like 5th grade, you don't even know what they are. You don't know. You don't know the difference between sine and cosine. I will donate $10 to your charity of your choice right now if you can tell me literally the difference between sine and cosine in the next 5 seconds. Can you?
No, I don't.
I didn't.
I'm not. I don't do math.
So you don't know
It was never
you
me.
don't know anything about trig. You don't know anything about it. Have you heard the terms sine, cosine, tangent functions?
Yes, I've heard it.
You've heard of them. Okay, but
Yes.
see, the point is that you don't have the skill set to accurately do an experiment and utilize actual knowledge that most of us have learned in grade school. You are not competent enough to do so. Therefore, why would anybody in their right mind believe anything that you have to say when you have demonstrated no proficiency in any of these things, no intelligent level on any of these things, and no aptitude to explain to somebody your actual experiment when it was, as they told you, it cannot be done from a single observation point. You need two. So I'm gonna ask you, I'm gonna let you get your final word in before we go to super chats. Why is it that everybody who's gone to school and past 5th grade that knows about these things, why are they wrong? Why is all math wrong? Why is all physics wrong? But you are somehow special and you have divine knowledge, and that God has only told you, nobody else, these things, that you know what they don't know because you have not furthered your education in order to even understand the topics properly. That's what I would like to know.
Because it comes down to this: whose video is telling the truth? I know this sounds crazy, but that's just the reality of it. Whose video is telling the truth.
Red,
you can go through a lot of explanations, but even with all those explanations, there's two videos. Either I'm telling the truth, or you guys are telling the truth. The people are going to decide at the end of the day.
But the difference between my video. Well, hang on. The difference between your video and my video. Hang on. The difference between your video and my video is that I actually back my shit up in my video. I show you how we did the observation. I go over the mathematics of our observation. In fact, I even offer to give the raw uncut footage so that people can do their own pixel counting and their own measurements. And by the way, Steve, just to you, sine of theta is opposite over hypotenuse. Cosine of theta is adjacent over hypotenuse. Just thought you want to know. And also and also 1.99999 repeating is 2.
1.99 is 2. Yes. Yes. You're right. Yay. Sakatoa, bitch. Yeah. Well, like I said, I think the big thing is that your experiment that you've done, people can go actually do themselves. It literally is something that is demonstrable that anybody, well, two people, with enough distance. I mean, what do you recommend to be a proper distance? Because obviously they're standing right next to each other. There's not going to be that much parallax. What would you say recommend to people that want to do this experiment? How much distance do you think they should have?
Very good question. Exactly, Jared. 1 kilometer, a little over a kilometer. I would say keep it between 1 to 1.2 kilometers, and align your tangent line so that you are as perpendicular as possible to the path of the International Space Station's transit. And you can find that out quite easily using transitfinder.com or by contacting Astronomy Live, who can calculate the orbital elements of the International Space Station and predict it to an even greater accuracy because, orbits are real and they can be calculated.
Yeah.
Hey, Red, come on, go big. Let's go whole radius.
All right, so let's get some of these super chats here. You guys ready for these?
Well,
right.
can I get my
Okay.
final word?
Yeah. I
So-
would
so
get
my-
these out of the way first, and then you guys can get final words. And if you want to do final words first, that's fine.
Final words,
choice.
then the super
go for
chats, and we can go out that way. So actually, you know,
Alright.
W, have you done your final word? I think that's kind of what started this.
Oh, you want me to do my final word, my final say?
Sure.
My final say is the fact that physical evidence outtrumps anything. And I'm not saying that you guys are lying about everything you say. I'm really not. I believe some of the stuff you guys say. I've seen your videos. I believe some of the stuff you guys say. But the fact of the matter is, some of it is questionable, and it leaves out too much. So I recommend anyone listening follow the physical evidence, not just math. Math is numbers. Math is equations. You can go on a board and do them. But outside, yeah, that's physical reality. Okay, go.
So I will have to agree with you on one point. Go outside and do some of this stuff, such as I highly suggest geodesic surveying, direct measurement of the contour of the surface of the Earth. Here's a problem, though. It's not flat. And before all of the last diatribe, W did ask a question on who was telling the truth. And if I were to go solely by the information that was provided and the explanations that were attempted to be given here in this hangout alone, I'm sorry, but truth does not stack up in your favor due to the inconsistencies when pressed for data on your own end. But I do have one last question to ponder, though. What's your favorite strain? Mine's Granddaddy Perp.
I had a hybrid,
my-
and I got to tell you, it didn't do anything for me. Like literally, it was 500 milligram, not even affect, nothing. Got nothing out of it over a few period of dates. Nothing. I get, maybe it doesn't work for me any longer. So I don't know.
Yeah, you got to change. You got to change it up a little more frequently, there, Steve.
I don't smoke. I do, yeah, but I don't ever partake, and I did, and it didn't have any effect on me whatsoever.
Edibles that use concentrates, because then you have a much clearer idea of what you're getting. If they're cooking with flour, it's questionable as hell.
I'm just saying it was a Rice Krispie like that, broken into the quarters, and it didn't have any effect. Anyways, all right, Reg, you want to say something? Leaving us your wisdom.
Sure. Yeah, I can say something. Unfortunately for this guy, those observations done in reality have already been done. They just don't agree with the flat Earth. They don't agree with the idea that space is fake, or that there are no satellites in orbit, or any of the other mountains and mountains of bullshit that we have been fed by the flat Earth community. Basically, flat earthers have told us to go out and do our research, back our shit up. And when we go out and when we actually do that and provide the mathematics, provide the raw data, they dismiss it outright, because now, arbitrarily, math stops working as soon as you get to a certain distance. This is called special pleading. It's a fallacy. I recommend you learn about this fallacy, research this fallacy, and work really hard to not commit it in the future. But that would require intellectual honesty. And the very moment you start becoming intellectually honest is the very moment that flat Earth starts to die for you. I mean, after all, why do you think Bob from Globebusters was trying so hard to keep the rotation of the Earth a secret, and state, word for word, by the way, if this got out, it would be bad. It would be bad. See, intellectually honest people, the reason why their stories never change is because when you're telling the truth, you don't have to remember what you said. Why do you think their stories always change and ours remain solid to this day? So once again, dude, I advise you to do your research, but do it in a way that doesn't make it seem like you're scared of math.
Yeah, I would break down and learn some math as well as I were you. I mean, you're never going to be taken seriously. No offense, no flat earthers should ever be taken seriously, but you're going to be taken less seriously if you can't back it up with the math, because math is going to be the number one thing. It isn't what we observe. This is for subjectivity, and it can be wrong. Math is far more objective and far more reliable than anything you can possibly observe. This is why Res Rhetorics isn't putting all his stock in trade into just the fact that here's the video. What he's putting in is the math checks it out. You don't have that. So when you get that, then come back.
A little bit. It is massive. It is, when you see a 12-meter dish bounce trying to track, it's pretty impressive. But when you watch a 34-meter dish, the strain on those things would just be shearing bolts every time they make a little tick, tick, tick to adjust for a wind current bouncing a satellite, you know, one of the weather balloon satellites that flat earthers claim we have. It just
real quick.
it would be
hang on. Dave, are we off air? Yeah, we're DOA. We're not buffering. We're
I
on air.
checked. It should be working again.
Let's check here.
Yeah, I have the live page
Okay.
up. Let me refresh it.
I just did.
Yeah, it's still saying strain offline.
Did it die?
Yeah, I think it
Well,
died.
Muerta.
Did that dead?
Intellectual iconoclasm broke the internet.
It now says
That
now
might have
there's
been when it happened.
I think we're back.
There's people saying we're back now. So
Yeah. All right.
Hey!
Intellectual broke the internet, so blame him. I had nothing to do with that. I have his offline still, but people are saying we're online. So hey, go for it.
Hey, you know what? If the audience can still see and hear, that's what counts.
you gotta love
Are they saying
YouTube.
we're back?
There's people saying we're back.
Okay.
They see us. So
All right. Okay.
Bye-bye again.
Lecture, you like
Let me wind back
backify
up.
what you just said a little bit? Yeah.
So, hey, W, if satellites were in the atmosphere, the slightest wind gust would cause all of the dishes tracking them to be observably move and dance around, and we don't see that. We keep them as tightly in place as we can, as far outside of the atmospheric envelope as possible, so that that's not a problem. I would, if you want to have a hangout sometime, pick my brain about this stuff. I can deconflict some stuff for you, set you straight where you're wrong, and if you have any questions I can't answer, I get to learn crap too. But you're very blatantly wrong about satellites and how they work, and being able to take a picture of something casting a shadow on the moon within the Earth's atmosphere, it's just not going to happen, man.
Oh, there you go. Now I think we're back, but I think we're buffering. Refresh it, and it should be good to go. I think we're back. So I'm going to read the super chats. Get these out of the way before we have another snafu.
I'm listening. I'm listening.
Awesome. I don't know how many directed to you, but we'll see here. J Dragon Melly, $5. He believes we live in a birdcage, but draws the line at the dome being 3,000 miles. Good to know. Fletcher, $2. Kyle and Steve, here's to your drink fund tonight. Yeah, I'm going to partake of that at some point. And I know I saw a lot of people saying we need a rum and coke night on my channel. I'll have one, I promise. I haven't forgotten about rum and coke night. I'm just trying to do some other things, like ask a philosopher, ask a mathematician. But we'll have rum and coke night. Don't worry.
Hang on, Steve. David, we can hear you typing. You might want to mute.
And for those also interested in drinking a little more studiously and sooner, tonight at midnight on Science Strike Force's channel, Movie Night, which is an excuse to drink while going over more wonderfully misplaced attempts at science.
Yeah, they always get drunk over there. I like the Science channel. There's always a good excuse to get drunk,
Steve,
right?
start having Ask a Drunk night.
What?
You need to have an Ask a Drunk blank night.
Yeah, ask a drunk blank night. I'll figure something out for that. Ask a drunk Reds rhetoric. That'll be awesome. Let's try that. My unfinished journey, $2. Why does WYAAI prefer King James version? Did he grow up with that? So why do you prefer the King James? Which, by the way,
King
is
James
one of the most
because-
mistranslated Bibles. It's not accurate.
Actually, no, it ended up being, for some reason, very accurate. Compared to NIV and some of the other ones, it actually ended up being very accurate. The other ones, some even have like what I would call like actual like little sticky notes, like, oh, they got this wrong. No, no, no. The King James ended up getting it right. People just read a lot of the Bible wrong. That's just the truth. Like you guys, I don't even think you guys knew about the Giants before I even started talking.
Oh yeah, no, well, no, we really have. I mean, you're not the first person to try to.
I know.
Why do you think
I'm
I
pretty
was the
sure
one
I
that
know.
said? Why do you think I was the one that said, "Hey, do you actually believe these are formations in the mountains of the Giants?" I have looked at that stuff before. It's to say it's nonsensical and asininely stupid would give it much more justification than it even needs. It is ridiculously, astronomically dumb fuckery at its finest. So yeah, I
Yeah.
have looked at
Well,
it. We just recognize it to be bullshit.
yeah. I
Okay.
just want to know what you're gonna. I just want to know what you guys are gonna do with the heart inside of it. That's what I'm
Yeah,
wondering.
when you produce it for us,
But it's
we'll
okay.
discuss it.
I'll make a video about this later. So
Okay, okay. Kisawa, 2,000 yen, I think it is. I think he should change his handle to WIAAI. Why I am a idiot. Cajun castration, $5. Well, I hope W washes his hands after pulling this out of his ass. Yeah, I would say that 99% of this was completely pulled out of ass. J Dragon, $2. Are sinkholes a-holes? Are geyser a release? Oh, that's just perverted, Jade. I like that. Sinkholes are assholes and geysers are the earth releasing itself. It's having tension. Mr. Unite for the Children, $2. The guy's name is Dr. Flat Out Hero. To whom was that? I know Flat Out Hero, but
It was in reference to that professor he made early on from MCU.
Oh, the one that tries to do math. Okay. I've seen him. Kosasa, 5,000 more. So the volcanoes are the morning after Giants binge on buffalo wings and beers. There you go. Fight the flat Earth. Go ahead. Okay. Fight the flat Earth. 5 pounds. Why has has W met Edgewise? That much stupid in the same place could cause reality to explode. I don't know if he knows who Edgewise is, but yeah, they're very
I
similar in
think
that.
I passed
Edgewise
this.
looks at the entire desert, though, right? Do you know Edgewise?
I think I skipped his page once. I think I saw like one video, but I didn't really look into it any deeper.
Yeah, you guys are in the same fringe, just not in touch with the reality part of that. Trust me. The Evil Scotsman, 5 pounds. Computer begin palm to face program. Yeah, I think we've all kind of hurt ourselves in this particular discussion. Jen just watched his video. Oh, better you than us, but Jen says just watch his video. Between pareidolia and some of the more biggest Photoshop lies I've ever seen, this guy is a total nutcase. Case closed. Go away. Did you Photoshop any of your stuff, or did you use people that Photoshop
No,
stuff?
I didn't Photoshop. I didn't Photoshop anything. If something is Photoshopped, I don't know. If something was Photoshopped in there, I don't know. But if it was, I'll admit it and be like, "Oh, this was Photoshopped," but I didn't know.
You didn't check
But
any of your sources.
I doubt
because,
it.
I doubt it. Kind of irrelevant, right?
I doubt it.
Okay.
There's one in there. There's one in there that I questioned, but I put it anyway, just to put
I
it out
questioned
there.
it, but I put it anyways
That's the
because
type of
fuck your
person I am.
diligence. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. No, we got that. Corrupt syntax, $5. I call bullcrap already. You're a liar. W. Tim Pryor, $5. That's called a sun dog, not two suns. Idiot. Yeah. By the way, sun dogs are not stars. They're not suns. They're caused by refraction from ice crystals in the sky or from other astronomical phenomenon where you get sundogs or you get flares, you get glare, you get halos. All these are astronomical phenomenon, right? Because
you can get the same thing with a glass dome. You can get the same thing with a glass dome.
Yeah, but unfortunately, we have pictures of sundogs being in front of skyscrapers. So that's a pretty small dome if I've ever seen one.
Yeah,
it's small. Yeah.
You're missing the point. That sundog was in front of a building you could walk to.
Yeah, not at the dome, right? I think what's happening is we don't understand, I don't know, basic photography things. I mean, like lens flare or glare or whatever.
No, it's just I think it's just my model of flat Earth. I think it's just my model of flat Earth compared to other flat Earthers models is a lot smaller.
No, remember why you have no flat Earth model. really don't.
Which
You've
makes
admitted
it even
I mean,
worse.
do you have a flat Earth model that works? Because we can
I
show it next
have an
time. But
estimate. An estimate.
no. I don't want an estimate. I want a model that works. If you have one or you don't. We have a model that works and makes predictions. Do you?
100%? Probably not. No,
Yes.
I won't lie.
Okay.
No,
We have a
I
model that
probably
works
don't.
100%. When you reach that, you let us know. Because our model, it works 100% of the time. Amazing how that is. 100% of the time, it works.
Yeah.
Try
you
to
find
debunk
wait,
that.
tell you
I
what,
fucking dare you.
when you find a predicted eclipse that didn't happen, I guarantee it, you will be very popular.
Oh, that's in the
Very
Book of
popular.
Enoch.
Yeah, okay. Corrupt $5. As Aaron Ross stated, people will believe what they want to believe, no matter what the facts are. W, you're intellectually dishonest. Justin James Human, $5. He said it's physical now. Just before that, he said would take religion to explain it. Please stay consistent, W. Antonio Aronis, 666. Kyle, where is that anaconda you said would be on display? It could be the core of your set. Kyle, from what I understand, takes his massive anaconda with him wherever he goes. From what I understand. Fight the flat
Ron
earth.
Jeremy
It's in
2.0.
one of my videos. It's in one of my videos.
Fight the flat earth. 2 pounds. My buddy, fight the flat earth. My brain has an owie. Yeah, I'm sorry this affects your mental status. Fight the flat earth. I get it. Trust me. And I apologize. The Athens 619, $5. I don't know, but I know it's not that. Your name is so ironic. And he has a point on this super chat. If you don't know something, then that's fine. But the fact is, because you don't know something doesn't mean somebody else doesn't know something. What Jared and Red and Intellectual Iconoclasm, they know things. I know things. Just because I can know things means somebody else could probably know those things as well. Most of the things, not everything that I know, because there are personal things that nobody else could ever have knowledge of. But things like this, things that he did as an experiment, guess what? You can go out and have that knowledge. You can actually repeat these things, W. So when you say you don't know, you're making a big mistake by assuming nobody else does, because we do. I have knowledge that his ISS transit was completely legit.
Look, it's just, even if I was to grab all the equipment he has and use it myself, I'm not going to trust the equipment because it's too far
Yeah,
away.
well, you're just living in
That's off the premise I'm going.
I get that, but the problem you're having is you're not even trusting reality at that point. And at that point, nobody really wants to dive down those rabbit holes of, oh, what if reality is wrong? Okay, fine. Have that when you're having a few beers or stoned out of your mind or navel gazing. Great, go do that. But when it comes to the hard sciences, that's a different story. Hard sciences don't give a crap about whether reality is true or not. Okay, and they want to know is, can we model what we perceive to be reality? That's the only thing I'm interested in as a scientific instrumentalist. Can we model it and make predictions?
Can I just say,
anyways,
I'm not going to trust.
Technical errors. Go ahead, real quick.
I'm not going to trust the equipment because it's too far away. Didn't we just smack down this like not too long ago? The distance to the object is irrelevant. If you have the capability of measuring the angles at hand, you can construct a right triangle to solve for. Trigonometry does not arbitrarily stop working at a given distance. If you think it does, please demonstrate that or stop saying it.
Yeah, I agree. By the way, yeah, navel gazing, not navel glazing, which is something completely different, but we'll explain that off air.
That could be fun, Steve. That could be fun.
Yeah, yeah, that's a whole different topic. All right, let's get through this because I know we're having technical problems.
Yep.
Demonic Derivos, 10 Australian. Ask this idiot why we have volcanoes and earthquakes. Also, how do we have seasons? Where does it get to 47 centigrade in South Australia? And there are snowstorms in Canada and the U.S. at the same time. 47C is pretty hot. I got to 50C where I lived once, which was 121.9 degrees. That was ridiculously hot. So 47.
Okay, so what was the first one?
Why do we have volcanoes and earthquakes?
Oh, that's easy. God broke the earth, and this junk is breaking down.
That's just stupid. To be honest with you.
No, yeah, it's called the fault lines.
Hang on. That's not an answer.
That's a complete cop-out answer.
Yeah,
it's not.
Can I
explain it?
No, I really don't want
potato.
to. We're running out of time, and that's just idiotic. So Larry Walter Jr., $5. Why isn't there one flat Earth person that has done any kind of scientific methodological experiment instead of hashtag my feelings or hashtag my perceptions? Why? Because they can't. I don't think them have the ability to do any kind of legit experiment. Look what happened when Jared tried. Jared actually tried to do a legit experiment. Was there some issues? Could be, but the experiment was demonstrably that the Earth was not flat. He literally disproved his own hypothesis.
Interesting.
So
It's very,
interesting.
very interesting indeed.
That's interesting.
It is.
It
is interesting.
LLC. It's interesting. $5.
Interesting.
Why could offer the public a service, raise the money for one-way trips to Antarctica, all first welcomed. It wouldn't matter to them. You could stick them in outer space and half these people would be denying reality. They're not interested in reality. What they're interested in is narrative. This is why I think that 99% of people won't take any flat earth seriously, because there's nothing to be serious to be had for it. Scrap the squirrels.
I think there's plenty of people who would actually go. I would be one of them. But
dude, you said that sundogs prove
it's not
it
going to
dome.
happen. It's
Dude,
not going to
Yeah,
happen.
I mean, you're
not going to happen. I already know.
Yeah, I don't
You
really
said-
trust anything you say at this point. Trust me.
You said sundogs prove a dome. No one's going to take you seriously.
Yeah, and math changes.
No,
There's
sundogs
reasons.
do prove the dome. It's just the dome of the atmosphere.
You know, that solid dome that doesn't exist. By the way, speaking of which, I have a question about that. David, can you help me out with something real quick? I want you. Question: is the dome in front of the mountains in this image right here? I'm curious.
Oh, of course not. Why?
Then sundogs don't prove a dome.
No, it's just the glass. What do you want it to do? It reflects.
I
simple.
want the dome to be over the Earth and not in front of a mountain that I can walk to and confirm that there's not a fucking glass barrier there.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I
look,
think
here,
that's
I'll just be bluntly honest here. Everyone can see it. The sky's blue, right? There's water above it. It means everyone can see it. It means there's really no excuse. But it's up to you. I mean, you saw the rocket hit the dome, not just one. But you probably saw
I
several.
did not.
Hang
No,
on.
there was never a moment in all of my time filming rocket launches did we ever see one hit the dome. Get your head out of your ass, dude.
Yeah, that's surely
You're
stupid.
just trolling.
Let's
Really,
move on.
really simple.
Hey,
Yep.
we're running out of time, and I know we're having
Yep.
feed problems. I'm sure David needs to shut this down. So let's just get through this. Scrat the Skeptic Squirrel, $2. The Kola Super Deep Burhole was 7.6 miles, and I said about 7.5 miles. So that's pretty close. Athena, Goddess of Wisdom and Warfare, $2. This guy should be writing fiction for a living. It's not very good fiction. Corrupt Syntax, $5. W, you're making shit up as you go. You know you're a bullcrap artist, a bad artist at that. Unapologetically atheist, $10. Dante's Inferno, yes. Hells yes, he says. It's my favorite book, video game, and animated movie. It is a good, well, it's a poem, but yeah, I mean, it's very difficult to read. I didn't read it in the native state. I mean, I read the English version of it. It's very, I can't read. Was it? It was Latin. It was it was Italian that was original, written, I believe. But the premise is great. I mean, Dante's Inferno is a really good story about Virgil taking Dante through various levels of hell, and you see all the people in one level and then another level, and what the crimes were, and one was for like liars, and I think another one's lawyers. It's been a long time, but all right. Brohammer 335, thank you for your $1. Appreciate that. A lot of people, by the way, that are subscribed to YouTube Red get $2 a month. They can give to any of their favorite channels for super chats. We appreciate when somebody gives $1 or $2 from that. Corrupt Syntax, $10. Reds, since you have the separate perspective observations, have you thought of looking at it on a 3D TV? I have polarized TV and would love to view it with proper parallax. Would that be possible? Reds?
I think that was to you, Reds.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you would have to superimpose both images on top of each other, but yes, that can be done because we have the raw footage, so you can see it. You can see it as it should be seen with parallax in hand.
That would be kind of cool, actually. The Evil
It would be.
Scotsman, £5. And here is Red, Destroyer of Flat Worlds. Yes, that is Red's nickname. We're gonna put that. We got to put that on a shirt. Remind me, Dave, tell Kyle. Red, Destroyer of Flat Worlds.
You all are
Thank
too
you.
kind.
I like that. Yeah, EDFW. Bombay, $5 Australian. W is being followed by a moonshadow. Moonshadow sung. I'm not going to sing that. I don't do Kyle. Kyle sings. Wesley Smith, $10. W. Have you ever, or excuse me, have you flat earthers ever really looked into the years, daily time, and wasted money it would take to hide a fake flat earth globe? Excuse me, hide a flat earth fake globe, and the inevitable risk public relations of being caught sooner or later. Yeah, I mean, how much money do you think is being invested to hide this thing and to try to cover up the fact that the math doesn't work according to you? I mean, this is a lot of wasted time and effort from money from all over the world and
Oh
many
no,
different
it's not for
governments.
money.
Well
It's
in
not for money.
No,
excess
but they
of
have
the
to spend money
NASA
to do
funds.
this, right? To cover it
Well,
up.
yeah, we're giving them what, 50 million a day. You know,
Cover
it's
this
not
up.
really hard.
That's not half
If I'm
enough, dude.
correct, if I'm correct, it's 50 million. Forgive me if I'm
Tenth-
wrong, but I think NASA makes a certain amount.
0.1% of the entire federal budget.
Yeah, it's nominal. Bohammer 335 $2. W is a pathological liar. Reds is not a liar. This is true.
I'm
Wesley
not lying.
Smith,
I just
$10.
believe differently.
No, I don't think. I'm not going to even go out and say that you're lying. I honestly think that something's not quite right upstairs. W, I know for a fact that my uncle's company makes a precision tool on CNC machines that makes a part for the Mars rover. What does that tell you? They're just covering bases. Yeah, all these people that work for these organizations that make these things like the rovers and all the parts. Hundreds and thousands, if not millions, of people involved in this. I think that's a conspiracy. Is just not normative. It's nonsensical. My unfinished journey, $2. When he has gone to hell himself, how does he know? Well, he said he doesn't know. This is the double standard we point out. He wants to see space and everything for himself, but will accept the fact that to him there's a hell underneath my feet, but he's never seen it. And yet sonar or ground penetrating radar and earthquakes will show that's not the case.
Yeah, I'm a physical evidence type of guy. Like, I believe there's movement under the earth, but that's it. A core? Yeah, not gonna
Those
believe in
are
it.
forms of physical.
Okay. Yeah, your physical evidence, but you think math is wrong. So, Amazing Zed, $2. We need a tape measure 93 million miles long.
Yes.
You know, what's funny is we've sent things
No, we
there.
don't.
We've sent things. We have a satellite that's around 30 million miles away from the sun right now. That's pretty impressive. We just took a picture of something that's 55 million years old, a black hole, an image that took years of processing.
Hey, Steve,
amazing.
can I drop a plug for something real quick?
Yeah. Well, you can plug yourself anytime around me. You know that.
Oh, of course,
Giggity.
of course.
Yeah.
I promise to be gentle. So the exactly like what we did with the ISS, making QED edition, we're going to do one again. But this time it's going to be involving measuring the distance to the sun in a way that anybody can confirm, which means that not only do they not have any excuse when it comes to the International Space Station, they're not going to have any excuse when it comes to the distance to the sun. It can be calculated. You can figure this out for yourself. All you have to do is not be scared of math. The sun is 150 million kilometers away, whether you like it or not.
Yeah. Math
Okay.
can
I
actually
need to
validate.
interject something again as well. When it comes to, I'm a physical measurements kind of a guy, that's fine. But again, we can measure light. We can measure the physical effect it has. We can use light waves and other near light waves to make these measurements. We can listen to the ground. We do not have to put our hands on it for it to be a physical measurement.
Yep, that's exactly true. All right, Brian G, $10. Get Russian vids to the launch on time. Chris Kelling, $10.
Yeah.
Here for keeping the Keplerian two-line elements are up to date. So math predicts the proper position of a space object. Yeah. My Unfinished Journey, $2. The universe is only as big as the biggest tape measure. Hal and Matt, $15. At first, I thought he was a Poe. Then I thought he was a Dunning-Kruger. Beyond that, I conclude he's a moron. Please do a follow-up with Lord WYAAI. Wasn't their apocalypse supposed to be a month ago? Yeah, I guess so. That didn't happen, by the way. I can tell you right now, fun fact, 100% of all doomsday apocalypses that have ever been around, none of them came true. Fun fact. Fun fact that every second coming in Christ didn't happen. Fun fact. Take it for what it's worth. But
Yeah.
every apocalypse I've ever heard, none of them ever happened.
Well, some people claim that I'm Jesus, but well, I'm flattered. I'm not.
Yeah, that's only between the sheets, though. You know,
They make
it- you're too fucking hideous.
My face is proof that there is no God.
It's pretty sad. I heard he's pretty good between the sheets, but they had to put a blanket over his head because he's just so fucking ugly.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Could a loving God create this face? No.
Yeah, I mean, you must get stuffy when you have that blanket wrapped around you. But anyways, Bombay, $10. W believes that a snake and a donkey talked. People rise from the dead, and the sun stood still in the sky. Is it so hard to believe that he thinks the laws of the universe can change arbitrarily? No, it really, it really isn't. And again, I don't mind if somebody believes certain things as a theological perspective, right? And they admit these are not things that are normative. These are things that would be considered to be physically impossible. I get that, but when you're saying math is wrong, that's even most Christians wouldn't even say that because they posit a deity that is logically possible. And when you're saying things like math is wrong, you're saying logic's wrong, and you're saying anything is possible at that point. Logically impossible things can happen because you have contradictions. And I just think that most Christians, no offense, W, would probably laugh at you when you start saying things like you can think that the laws of logic and the laws of the universe can just change on a dime for whatever reason because math is wrong. I just don't think that's a good argument. But Olar, $2. W, argument in a nutshell. No. Translator Crania or Translator Carminium, $5. W, I think this question simply must be asked. Where is the magical boundary in the sky where the trigonometry stops working? How high is it?
How high is the dome? It's estimated.
No. How high does the map stop working?
I don't know.
Yeah, shocker. Okay.
I don't know.
Corrupt syntax. $2. Yeah, it doesn't. Corrupt syntax. 0.99 repeating is ones, Reds. That's not what he said. Reds did say 1.99 repeating. 1.99 repeating is 2. So I heard what Reds said. He was right. 0132132, $5.05. Red's observations are physical evidence, at least to the extent that this is real money. Yeah, it's physical evidence. Of course it is. Devil Dog 314. No, 500 yen. 1.99 repeating is not 2. I know that most mathematicians would say that it is, but there are ways you know that's wrong. Well, Devil Dog, I hate to break it to you. I will bite you tooth and nail on this, and you can come on my channel anytime you want to try to disprove this. But 1.99 repeating is, in fact, mathematically 2. I can prove it multiple different ways using calculus, algebra, and geometric progression, and a few other ways as well. It literally is something that Euler did actually prove in one of his treatises or books. I don't remember which specific one, but he actually proved that 9.99 repeating is equal to 10. So if you think you know math better than Euler, by all means, hit me up. But yes, 1.99 repeating is in fact 2. But appreciate you the super chat. But yeah,
hold on. 1.999 repeating is functionally 2, but it is technically 1.999 repeating.
No, it's 2. There's an extensionality there. It's like saying 0.5 is 1/2. They're extensionally the same, right? You looked at extensionality. 0.5 is 1/2.
Yeah, we can have an entire show about that.
Yeah, let's.
And I'm gonna say this and get the fuck out. So thank you all for having me. It was great. It was nice. Please go onto my channel and see the Falcon Heavy launch and landing that I filmed in one continuous shot, by the way. Dedicated, of course, to Jared, which, by the way, as of right now, has 52,000 views on it and climbing. Please get it as close as possible to 1 million. That would be great. Anyway, peace out, guys.
Awesome. I think it reads. All right, so moving on here. Tim Pryor, $30. Whoa, thank you, Tim. If you believe some of it, then you're wrong on all your assumptions. And I think, Tim, that he probably is wrong on the vast majority of his assumptions. I really do. Devil Dog, 2,000 yen. If I have a machine that will give number and spit out any integer, what are the odds it spits out a number other than 3? 99.9 repeating cannot equal 100% because it come up 3 according to the rules. Actually, that's weird. There's something called a infinite probability distribution. And when you're talking about real numbers, if you pick a number at random without the reals, you're always going to pick a irrational number. You can never pick an actual random rational number. It's called.
Weren't you actually planning a math hangout after this, Steve?
Yeah, I was going to, but I haven't. I don't know if the guy I'm going to do it with is available. It's getting too late, so we might. But if we do, we'll discuss this. But if you want to do that, if he's available tonight, I'm going to do ask a mathematician tonight. But I don't know if he's still available. But yeah, if you want to come on, I'm happy to explain to you why this is incorrect. But 1.99 repeating is in fact 2. They're the same as 0.5 equals 1/2 equal. My unfinished journey, $2. How does he know King James Version is more accurate? It's just pulling it out of his ass because most biblical scholars will say that it's the least accurate version. Serbia, $5. How does trigonometry work if triangles don't exist? If triangles do exist, what a triangle with more than 180, and why is it possible in reality? Just because there's something that exists doesn't mean we can't utilize it. I mean, colors don't exist. We can still use colors.
And triangles do exist that have more than 180 degrees because they exist on the globe.
Well, yeah, you're looking at the difference between Euclidean and non-Euclidean geometry. When you plot out a triangle on a spherical surface, then you can have a triangle where the internal angles add up to greater than 180, and it's still a triangle.
Yeah.
On that invited hangout, I'll explain that too.
Okay, Brandon Higgins, Flat Earth is a scam, $2. Thank you. Nathan Nicholson, $5. Can I do a Nathan versus Nathan debate? We can call it 2 flirters, 1 rounders.com. Pretty good, actually. Yeah, I like that. Jay Dragon, $2 more. Space, space.
That was good. That was good.
That was good. Knockdown Wheel, $2 Canadian. W, please explain 2 celestial poles. That's where we're going to leave it.
Oh, that's easy.
Can you briefly, in 30 seconds, explain that? Or I got 2 more after this.
Oh, yeah, no, it's just 2 different groups of stars spinning in different locations. That's it.
But how can you do that if the outer edge are looking in different directions?
Magic.
I don't know, but I have video of it. So
exactly.
I literally have video. One rotation of stars and another rotation of stars. Now, how that works, I'm not God. I don't know. But
yeah,
I have video of it.
Yeah, even
I can prove it.
You're wrong. God's looking down if he exists right now and going, please don't talk for me. Don't represent me, please. That's what God's doing. There'd be $5 at red. If matter's solid, then why do we receive protons from area that's dark? We can't, yeah, he said proton. Why do we see protons? Not photons, but why do we see protons? From areas that are dark that we can't see and call it dark matter. Why is it or not actual matter solid? Because dark matter doesn't release photons.
What? So here is the simplified reason for dark matter / dark energy. We see the interaction. We see interactions of the visible matter around it based on our current understanding to supplant that, yes, there is a mass or energy of X value there. But since we cannot directly observe it, it gets the term dark. Not a hard concept.
I just don't believe it.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, that really doesn't matter because
really
the rest of the world does just about because they've actually read up on this stuff. I mean, basic math. Okay, corrupt syntax, $5. Reds, even though parallax is corrected for, its convergence is in proper configuration. I'm not sure what that means, but red's left. Jeff, 99 cents. Thank you, not Jeff. And Nick W thinks Elliot Killer was right. He's MGTOW. Yeah, you did say you were MGTOW.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's the super chats, people. They've already said their piece. I am going to leave you guys one more time with the video that I did with Brittany. If you guys want to go check it out, I'm putting it in the video description or in the live chat now. Go sub to her and please tell her hi from me and the NonSequitur show. She is really an awesome person. I do enjoy her videos. And we had hours of great conversation. So I'm definitely trying to shout her out. Go sub to her and go say hi to her. Anything else? All right. With that, thanks, W, for joining us.
We're done?
Yep.
I believe we're done.
All right. So I guess we're done for the day.
I'm going to let Iconoclasm say the last word if that's cool with you, W.
Who?
The guy over here.
I didn't hear you.
Kyle from the future. Kyle from the future.
I would just like to once again offer extend an offer of a hangout or however many it takes. We'll run them on your channel, wherever, private, where I can explain a lot of this and deconflict it, break it down. Not, you're stupid, you don't get it or anything, but there are some holes in your knowledge that I think I can bring to a much more common speech version that I think you'd be able to grab a hold of and start dismantling some of your bad ideas.
Oh, that sounds interesting. I might do
There
it.
you go.
I might. But first, I got to work on this video right here. I got to kind of tear it apart and do my own thing with it. So that's going to be an interesting time. But I do want to thank you all for the debate, honestly. Thank you. It was fun. It got a little loud towards the middle, but it was honestly good. I can't complain. But yeah, I'll leave it right here. And I just want to let you know that's why you are idiots. Okay?
All right. A couple people said the link didn't work. I'm gonna put the link in parentheses so you can click on it right now. Sometimes it doesn't work if we don't put it in parentheses. But it is Brittany Simon, BRITTANYSIMON. Okay. So go check her out, and like I said, please say hi to her for me, and we will see you tomorrow. And by the way, maybe having a hangout later tonight, maybe not. Check back in about 20 minutes on my channel, Steve McRae. Good night.
Good night.
Night.